checking settings. I think we're live.
All right.
What's up, everybody? Everybody have to let me know how the video or how the audio is.
Yeah.
For
See how
some,
we all sound. I'm getting mine loaded up here so I can see what we're seeing.
I don't know what I do wrong, but for some reason, like I always have the other person, like I can't ever get their audio like real good, and I always say I'm going to look into it, and then I start to
Okay.
stream, and I'm like, oh, I didn't look into that.
Yep.
I was going
So
to
he
get.
goes,
All right, I'm ready to go too. Yeah, thanks, One Vision. I won the Fly Tribe magazine. I was one of the people that won it. I entered the contest.
oh, did you really?
Yeah. There's an echo, Tommy. My stupid phone. Hold on, it might be my phone because I got uh, stuff going off.
Yeah, hopefully it's not me. I got the stream up, but I've got it muted. So hopefully it's not it.
You sound good on my end,
Okay.
but I
Cool.
don't know. I'm gonna turn my phone down. That might have been what it was too. All right, guys.
So,
How's Stacy sound? What's up, Proximo Fly Zone?
we got Fly Zone. We got Tommy 8, Evo. And who else we got in here? One Vision and Technique. We got some dude named Stacy. I don't know who that is.
Flexo. Flexo, I couldn't remember your name when me and Stacy were having or audio issues. I was like, I knew it happened. Only you echo Nappy. All right, I'm echoing. That's weird. Usually it's
Yeah, I'm not hearing that. I'm not hearing the echo, so I don't know where it's coming from. It's not coming from Zoom, anyways, or shouldn't be.
is Tommy the only one saying he has an echo?
Maybe it's his ears.
Maybe anybody besides Tommy think I have an echo. It's perfect now. All right,
Perfect now. All right, good deal.
I didn't do anything. I like it when it fixes itself.
Yep, those are the best kind.
All right, cool. No
Best kind.
echo, no echo. All right, first of all, guys, you need to go get you a hat from Stacy. It's perfect summertime hat.
Oh yeah, mine's in the wash machine where I have it on.
Oh man, I was hoping you were gonna wear it. I
I can go grab it. I can go grab it. It's not. Let me go grab mine. Hang on. I'll get it. It's on the wall. Hang on.
All right. What's up, Bullfrog? Steve-O, how you been, buddy? You weren't on the last stream because you were sleeping. Um, I was getting ready to say something. All right, here's Stacy. We're gonna match.
There we go. How's that?
That's
Should I
good.
turn it around? I usually wear it that other way. There we go.
My
Yeah,
your
it's quite better.
why's yours got a big? Mine's different than yours, ain't it?
No, it should be the same. It's got. It's
You
just a different color.
oh yeah, you got white on yours and mine. All right,
Yeah.
that's
So this
funny.
is like a. I don't know. It's like a real light blue, and then the text is like white. You can see it really good in person, but on the screen there, it's not showing up so well.
I can see it now. I just
Yeah.
thought it was. I thought it was just white in the back, but I can see.
Yeah. I usually wear it with this in the front, but sometimes I'll wear it this way, and I always do it like a fedora, where it's like curved up in the back, and then it's like down in the front.
All right, I got mine like yours now. We're good. Uh,
There we go. Looks
uh,
good.
Flexo, who's got a better beard, you or Stacy? We need. That's the vote. That's all that matters on this stream. We got to figure it out.
He's got a good one. He's got a good one.
I think Flex.
Mine gets all janky sometimes.
Yeah, I think mine would look like yours if I let it go. Flex size was all perfect.
Yeah, mine gets kind of janky sometimes. Like when I get right out of the shower, it looks its best, but then later it's terrible. In the
I
mornings, it's awful in the mornings. Occasionally, I'll get up in the morning, it'll be nice and perfect, but most of the time, it's like sideways.
I once mine gets like when I look down and mine starts like sticking out, then like it starts to get on my nerves.
Yeah.
Like right before I cut mine, I was taking mine and kind of like pushing it over to the side,
Uh,
but then I just trimmed it. I usually do though, man. I'll let mine go about right right when it starts to cool off. I'll start letting it go and then wait till spring and cut it.
yep.
What's
Yep.
up, Danish?
They are Mr. Stallion. I need one of his 3D prints with the little horse head. Those are cool.
I don't know. Yeah, yeah, I've seen one. I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, he got like, he'll fly. He'll usually have like one of his drones with the little horse head on there, and then he'll have one with like the camera. I guess he uses the one with the horse head stuff when he wants to like practice and not worry about breaking stuff. And then the other, I'm guessing, I don't know. That's the way I would do it if I was doing that. But I don't even fly camera, so
Are you ever going to use one again?
I don't know. So I've got two broke ones that I need to actually file a claim for and get them replaced. Was this a nine? I think it's a nine. Yeah, it's a nine. It's sitting here, and then I've got an eight in the garage that's broke.
You
I
have
got tired of dealing with them.
you have a couple session fives too, don't you?
Yeah, I use the sessions for like stick cam right now.
Oh, okay. So you
And I
got
did. I used to fly with them. Um, that's the one I like to fly with the best because it's a nice weight, it's pretty durable. Um, but every time I was creating like a mount for the frame I'm flying, and it would be fine for a little bit, but then it would like the mount would end up breaking. No matter how I designed it, it would still always end up breaking on the top. And so then I have to go find the camera. It'd be laying in the field somewhere, and I have to go figure out where it was at. And I got tired of doing that. And then half the time it would have stopped recording for some reason, and then or it corrupted the file or whatever. And I was like, man, I'm tired of this. You know, I got tired of it. So
I started using the action too, man. Like I swear with GoPro,
that's it's pretty durable.
yeah, dude. Like GoPro, it seemed like I mean I don't know. Like I'll fly a GoPro as my backup if I'm like
Mm-hmm.
break my action two. But man, it seems like GoPro, you have all kinds of problems with them all the time. I mean, I
Yeah,
still have to find my action two in the field every once in a while. But like last
yeah,
time I flew, it was just laying beside it. Like it broke, but I got lucky.
yeah, yeah. My buddy down here, um, Ray and Ham, we fly together some. He flies the action too, and he crashes ridiculous amount of times, and his is still in good shape. And I think he's broke some of the lens protectors, but
Yeah,
other than that, it's been solid and never loses footage or you know. I don't really like the I don't like the really wide angle view. I guess I could if I had one, I could run a slightly less wide angle view maybe, but um,
yeah. They have ultra wide, wide, and then like
yeah,
they have
the
like
ultra
four.
wide, I just don't like it. It looks okay in certain cases, but then like when you start doing the flippy floppy, that's when it looks weird to me.
It looks all just like distorted on the edges. Is that what you're talking about? Like,
Yeah, it gets really this. It reminds me of way back. I used to mess with real steady on um, like a lot of the acro footage, and when you do certain moves with real steady, it gets kind of funky looking like that,
yeah,
and that's what it reminds me of. It's not stabilizing it, but it's just that really wide stretched where it's like um, doesn't have any of the curving, and so that linear stretch that it does just looks really weird with certain maneuvers. Like if you're just like cruising and doing normal type stuff, it looks okay. It's when you throw that weird yaw. Yaw always looks weird with it. So I don't know. I guess maybe the wide might be better, but everybody seems to do the ultra wide. I don't know.
I do the wide with mine. What's up,
I
King
might, be,
Keek? What's
I
up?
might need to go back and compare yours to some of the other ones again and see what I think about it.
Proximo, I don't know, man, if I'll play any videos. It's kind of relaxing not playing any. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
If you got a really good one, we'll watch it.
Proximo probably does.
Probably. I think I've seen some of his stuff.
Yeah, he's local to me. He's. Are you working on? I just saw he say was been working on an edit for 6 hours. That's probably the one he wants people to watch.
I can work on one for 6 hours and not make any progress.
I know, man. Like last night, I was messing with one, and I'm like, I'm gonna sit here. If I'm still messing with it at 1, I'm going to bed. I'm done with it. And then I like look, and it was like 1:35, and I'm like, all right. If I'm not
Yeah.
done by 2, I'm gonna go to bed.
Yep. I've done that. Sit there and tinker and tinker and tinker. I'd like to make. That's where I got the. I usually for my edits, I won't even. I'll use like a single clip. If I don't have a single run that's good enough for start to end, I'll be like, nah, I ain't going forward with it. I
I
used to do all the cuts and all that kind of stuff, but man, that's a lot of work.
I'll
It's so much work.
I try to do that too, man. Like, not it don't have to be a whole pack, but like if I go fly 5 packs, I'll try to go through, and I obviously will watch unless I know like they're not good, but I'll usually watch them anyway, and then take like
Yep.
2 videos out of the 5 or whatever, and then try to get a 3 to 5
Yep.
minute video.
Yeah, try to get a clip that is, pretty good start to finish with not like a lot of lulls in it or anything, but it's hard to do. It's hard to have a solid run to go start to end on a pack. I see some guys that do it that are really good at it, but yeah, most of mine aren't. So
Every once in a while, I'll get in the groove and it'll feel good, and I'll do that. But usually, man, I'll usually
I've had
if I start hitting a few good tricks, I'll get like excited, and then I'll try something harder or go harder, than I crash. That's usually what
yeah,
happens.
yeah, I know that feeling. I've had a lot where I think it's really good, and then I go back and watch it, and I'm like, man, this sucks.
Yep.
That wasn't as good as I thought it was.
Yep.
Where's the flight video I remember?
That yeah, that happens all the time, dude. Or like me and Austin went and flew Sunday, and I had one bad prop, and I bent it back, and I'm like, that's fine. And like 2 of my videos, dude, are like all
oh,
jello-y.
oh, Jello,
And
yep,
like I was like, man, and like I swear those were the 2 best packs I had all day. And they're like trash.
yep,
I was like, oh well. I,
yep. Well, in my case, if there's Jello, I know it since I'm recording DVR. So if I
yeah.
see it in the DVR, then I'm blind, then I know it's coming through. And I had the other day, I was I had that happen, and I was like, why is causing this thing to have Jello? And I just put fresh props on, and everything, and it was still getting Jello. I was like, what the heck? And I brought it in, landed, and like one of the screws had come out of one of the arms, and so the arm was like really loose.
Oh,
I'm like, I don't even know how this thing was flying.
I thought you were gonna say your camera screw came out. I've had that
Yeah,
happen.
I've had that, and I had one where the camera was actually causing the Jello. The lens inside of it was loose. The sensor was loose, and it was shaking around, and it would get Jello every so often. Like it wouldn't be all the time. It was just certain maneuvers that it would you would see it, and it was because the sensor was loose inside, and I had to like tighten it down. There's the screws. The way the camera's made, it should have 2 screws inside that hold the sensor in place, and then 2 screws on the outside that hold the back plate on. And for whatever reason on that camera, they didn't have the screws sensor inside. They just had it going straight through the back to hold it in, and it held it, but not all the time. And eventually, it kind of wore loose, and so thankfully it was an easy fix. But yeah, it was a pain in the butt. I had a lot of good flights that got ruined by that.
Yeah, that's the worst, man.
Yeah,
When you're like, oh, I got killer footage and it's messed up because of something stupid like that.
and then I've had the case where even with my DVR, I've had the DVR decide to not record. The little icon will be on there. It's recording. Get back home and it didn't record it. And I'm like, what?
What's up? We got Fly High here. What's up,
All
Austin?
right.
I don't know if anybody else knows here. Proximo, I'll try to play your video, man. Your hard work will pay off. But then everybody else can't get mad at me if I don't play theirs.
Better get your phone charged, Austin.
Oh, he says he's going to watch on his TV.
Oh, we're going to be on the big screen. You're going to see all the imperfections.
I haven't finished my video yet, Austin. Well, it's pretty much finished, but I haven't thought of a title yet, a name yet. Is your video out, Austin, already? We went and flew the stilts. That place is great, man. It was like hot out, but like you have all the shade and there's like breeze coming underneath of it. All right, Austin's is out. I'll try to play some videos. We'll see what happens.
All right, this should be fun.
They're stressing me out. No, it's like I don't know. When I have somebody else on, it's kind of just better to chill and talk. And then if I'm by myself,
Oh,
it
yeah.
seems like it's better to play videos because nobody wants to sit here and stare at me for 2 hours.
What? What do you mean? I mean, come on.
All right, we got 13 people watching. So, do you want to tell your backstory of how you started? Then I've heard it, but
Yeah,
you're like
sure.
you're an OG pilot.
Yeah, I guess I'm.
You're the second generation, really, aren't you, of people that
Yeah,
came in?
probably. I think some of the guys got started like in like 2010 or 2011, somewhere around there. I got started in 2014, right at the end of 2014, and so every year it was around Christmas time. So every year Christmas time, I'd go find something I wanted for Christmas, and the in-laws, they always gave me, a certain amount of money, and so like, here you go, here's some money, go buy what you want for Christmas, you know. And so I'd go find something or whatever, and I'd always been into RC stuff, so I was looking for something for RC stuff, and I came across a video for, what was the name of that thing? It was like, it was an offshoot of Traxxas,
Aton.
Latrax.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, Latrax. And so they had a drone that they made. It's a little toy drone. It was called the Alias. So Latrax Alias. A little tiny, little small one with the brushed motors. But it could do all the little tricks and stuff. But it turned out it actually had a manual mode, which I had no clue what that even meant at that time. I tried to fly it in it and crashed repeatedly, and so I quit flying in that and just flew it in the regular mode where you could, do, if you held the stick, it would like do flips and stuff. But it was like, I guess it was kind of like what's the mode they have now? Like it's,
Horizon.
yeah, maybe it's Horizon where you can do the acro, but it's still stabilized. Like
Yeah, I think that's Horizon. It's weird. It's
yeah, yeah. So it was something like that. But anyway, so I got that thing in, and um, while I was waiting on it to come in, though, I started looking for other videos, and I stumbled across a video by Sharpoo. And then I think it was one of those, he was like flying down that long hallway, and at the very end, there was like a little tiny window, and he was flying through the window. And I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, man, how do you make it through that little tiny window without crashing? And watching that, and then that led down a long path, and I watched. I think there was at that time. I think there was one of the videos those guys flying them in the forest where it looked like the little Star Wars speeders,
Yeah.
you know, flying, through there. And I just kept. I got like on a binge of watching this thing. So then I get this drone in. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to go do this. That was this little toy thing. I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. And then I found out that I couldn't. And then I found out that my flying was terrible. I couldn't make it do it. So, but then I figured out you could buy a camera for it, and so I bought the little camera for it, and it went up under it, and the footage from it was awful, and it was like jello-y and vibration-y, and so then I went down the rabbit hole trying to figure out how to get rid of like the jello on, and I came up with all these crazy contraptions on how to mount that camera on it, and try not to get jello or try to get better footage, and it was just terrible. And then I came across um, the who is the name of that? What was the name of that place? It was Hella. What was the name of that place? I can't even remember. It was like it was a Storm 250 was the name of the drone, but I can't think of the name of it. Helipal. That's it. Helipal. And so I bought that, and that got shipped out of China. It took forever to get here, and it was a 250 size drone with, um, I think it had 2204 motors, and ran it on 3S, and had like 5x3, pitch props, like real low pitch props, and they were like, they were kind of like the original HQ props. You look at them funny and they break. Um, so if you crash, the prop breaks. So I got that in, and it had the FPV camera and everything, but I didn't have goggles. And I was like, all right. And I didn't have money for goggles. I was like, well, I'm going to learn how to fly it, and I'm going to save up for the goggles. And so I was flying that line of sight in angle mode on it at first. And then I guess I put it in the horizon where you could start to do the rolls and stuff. And I was flying at my daughter's barn where she would go ride horses. And I was just kind of flying it around, and I got way up, and I got way too far out, and I lost sight of it. It like got too small in the sky, and I was like, "Oh crap!" And so I had it I put it back in angle mode, and I just gradually turned the sticks, and I got it to where I could see it again. Like it made a big turn, I guess, and I could see it coming back, and it was like over top of the mountain, and I watched it like it'd been like 7 minutes. So I don't know how the battery was even holding on that long, but it like held on for like 7 minutes. And I saw it come over the mountain, and I was watching it fall out of the sky because the battery died, and I never did find it. I
Oh
looked
man.
for Yeah, I looked for weeks, and I never did find it. And then I was like, okay, I don't want to lose one. So then I did some research and found that you could have like a GPS. And so I bought a DJI NASA flight controller. It was like a big box, and you plug like PWM, just like you do on the planes. You've got the little for
Yeah.
all your servos and stuff. Same thing, except for your motors. The ESCs for the motors had those on the ends of them. You plug all those in, and I used the Flame 450. It was like a clone. So, and then it had like 10-inch props, and ran on like a 5,000 milliamp 3S battery. It would fly for like half an hour um, on that setup. And so built that. I flew that line of sight for a good while, and I was like, man, I really want to fly with like a camera, be able to see. And so saved my money, and I got a set of crappy, um, one of those goggles. Well, who made those? Those are big giant box goggles. What was
Oh,
the name?
I know you showed a picture of that one
Yeah,
stream.
I can't remember the name
But
of them now,
yeah, I
but they
don't
were like
remember.
big old massive things. But I had like the cheaper one, like it had like the really crappy foam that like fell apart on you, and you know, it was like styrofoam. It didn't have a nice wrap or anything around. They were terrible. But anyway, so I got those, and I flew that thing so yet stabilized mode, but with FPV, and that was pretty fun. Um, I would fly it at the ball field that was just close by, and there was like a river there, and I'd fly out and over the river and down the river, not even thinking anything about it. And I had like, I think it was like a 200 milliwatt VTX. I had like crystal clear video. I never got like any static or anything. I mean, like, I flew that thing probably more than a mile away.
On 200
Um,
milliwatt.
yeah, 200 milliwatt. Like there was like no interference or anything. I don't know. It was, it was like 2015 or something. So there wasn't a lot of stuff. Um, Wi-Fi wasn't
I,
real
I
prevalent in
I
that
didn't even
area.
I didn't even think of that part of it, man.
Yeah, it was crazy. But then there was no carbon on it either because it was all plastic. So you didn't have any interference from the antennas, because there's no carbon or anything blocking anything. And I had the antenna like straight up and down, you know, and
You didn't have to
I had
worry
a big
about.
giant, yeah. But I had really good video with it. I flew that forever, and I got to a point in, um, I guess it was 20. I guess I flew up for over a year that way, and then 2016 I got the itch. I wanted to start learning how to fly and do all the tricks and stuff. And I found out that you could put that NASA flight controller in a manual mode. I do not recommend that. That's terrible. Um, but that's what I learned to fly acro on. It had a maximum degrees per second, 150 degrees per second. There's no air mode or anything like that. And so I had to program the radio to keep some throttle in because if you went to zero throttle, it completely
Just
it didn't shut
dropped.
the motors. The motors stayed running, but they didn't do anything. Like if you pushed the sticks in any other direction, the throttle was zero. It didn't do anything. You had to have some throttle, um, or you didn't get any. Like you couldn't roll, you couldn't turn, you couldn't do nothing. Like it was just blade spinning idle. So you had to change the radio to not go all the way to zero. So when you went to zero, you still had just a little bit. Um,
What
yeah, so I flew
what
that
what
and
radio
learned
were
how
you
to fly.
using?
Um, when I first started with it, I was using a Devo 7, Devo 7E. It had the receivers on it. They were about that big. Um, they were huge, and you had all these PWM ports on stuff that you had to plug everything into.
For every
And
channel.
yeah, for every channel. And so you make sure you had to get in the right. You had to put the motors in the right one. So like each motor, they went into like how did it have those things laid out? It was kind of weird. You had I can't remember now. I don't have it anymore, but it was kind of weird. You had to do. There's like some videos, but there's a some Indian dude. He's either Indian or Middle Eastern. I can't remember. Um, he had some really good videos on that flight controller, and so that was how I learned how to set it up.
Austin asked if you chased any dinosaurs with it.
I chased some geese with it, but no dinosaurs. I only chased the dinosaurs with my club.
That was a good one.
Oh, but so I learned on that, and I was like, okay, I got to get something better. And then end of 2016, I guess it was about September, October, somewhere around there. I built my first 5 inch, and I used the Sharpoo frame. It was like a solid bottom plate, and the way that it was designed, your camera angle. So think about this. I'm just starting out with that. Camera angle basically in that thing was fixed at like 35 or 40 degrees,
So
something like that.
you were going fast.
Oh my God, yeah. And and it was tiny because it was like a compact X frame, and I mean it was as small as you could make it and still fit 5 inch props on it, barely, and just barely enough room in there for the flight controller. Um, I mean, just barely enough room for the flight controller. So you had ESCs on the arms on this thing, and I mean they're compact, and you had your flight controller in there, and then you had I had to like stuff a receiver in there, and I had to stuff the camera in there, and I mean it was and stuff the video transmitter in this little tiny, you know, like the little small racer frames is basically what it was like, except um, yeah, it was tiny. But so I built that, and I can remember my first time I got it all built, and I thought I had everything right, and so I take it outside in the front yard. I sit it down on the sidewalk, and it was the battery went on the bottom, so it had kind of a little bit of a slight lean. It wasn't sitting exactly flat, and I hit the arm switch, and it like freaked out. It's like about took me out. um, I was like, man, what do I do? I got everything wired up right. Everything's right. And so I get on some of the forums or something or the other, and I ask, and the guy's like, he's like, you need to, what was it he said exactly? I think I just had to change the value in Betaflight for like the orientation on it. And I was like, man, I did that. And I told him what I put in. He goes, you got it wrong. I was like, no, that's what it's turned. He said, send me a picture. So I sent him a picture. And he goes, no, you need to change. You have 90. You need to make it like negative 90 or 270. And I was like, but it's not turned. He goes, no, 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 that's not what it means. He goes, it's not the direction you turn it to be facing, you know, not how many degrees to make it straight. It's how many degrees is it actually turned. And I was like, oh. He goes, just try it. And so I changed it, and it worked. And I don't even remember who that guy was, but he was a big help.
He saved you.
uh, but yeah, that was kind of how I got started, and I was afraid to go through any kind of gap, uh, mainly because I've been flying that one that if you crashed it, man, it broke. So I didn't want to crash. And I was pretty timid with it for the longest time. I would fly it and do stuff, but never like any gaps or anything for the longest time. I mean, it was probably, man, how long did I fly that before I really started doing any kind of gaps? It was probably several years
Did you
before I actually started doing any gaps or anything.
did you make videos back then, or did you just fly it?
Oh yeah, yeah. I made videos, and they're awful. God, they're awful. You don't want to watch them. They're on my channel. But you don't want to watch them. They're terrible.
Um, well, the first video I ever watched of yours, and I didn't even know it was your video, um, until like probably 3 or 4 months ago. I watched that what that crap. What was that car, Losi, that you made brushless?
Oh, the team associated
Yeah, yeah,
RC10.
yeah. That's the first video I watched of yours, like a
Oh,
long
really?
time, like a
That's
long
cool.
time ago. What, like 10 years ago or something?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
watched.
I had a old team associated RC10T3,
That's what it was.
and it was brushed at that time, and you ran it on NiCad, and you had I think it had way back it had like a Novak speed controller. There was like no reverse because it was like a racing speed controller. So there was like no reverse. It just had brakes. Um, and I let that thing sit forever, and then just I got tired of messing with it because the transmission in that stupid Team Associate, I hated that. It had like they called it a stealth transmission. That thing was a pain. It was designed to like slip, so like it had like a slip differential, and so you had to put it together, you had to tighten it down, and it had like all these ball bearings and the grease, and you had to get it just the right tension so that it would slip, but then it would catch. And
Without breaking
the
something.
yeah, what would happen is the little ball bearings in there they would wear out, and it had a slip differential plate, and that would wear out, and you'd have to replace those to be able to keep tension and stuff on it. Well, I like that thing. It would wear out, and you have to replace it, and wear out and replace it. And I just got tired of dealing with it, so I let it sit. And then you couldn't buy parts for it anymore. Um, and it still worked, but it would slip pretty bad. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to mess with this again, and I'm going to try to turn it into a brushless one. I'm like, this is going to be a bad idea because brushless motors got way more power the brush motors. I was like, it's going to be a bad idea, but maybe it'll work. I don't know. And it worked okay, but man, that transmission is worn out. It slips really bad. And if you watch the video, you can tell it's not got no traction because the differential keeps slipping. But the that brushless motor had enough power that once you get started, it would go. You know, it's just whenever you would like you couldn't brake and then hit the throttle hard and get going again. You had to kind of be real easy on the throttle with it, which was kind of hard to drive. So, but it worked. Um, I don't have it with me down here. It's back at the house and that we have in West Virginia. Um, at some point, I got to go back there and get it and bring it down here, but I haven't done it yet.
Yep. What
I'd like to replace the transmission in it, but I don't think I can find anything that'll fit it. But
what was weird, man, is I watched it like I don't know however old it is. I watched it back then, and then I bet it was I don't know. It was less than a year ago. I don't know how long. It was 6 months or whatever. But
mm,
like that video just popped up on my YouTube. Like you know how it does that every once in a while. Like old videos just pop up.
oh yeah,
That video popped up, and I was like, I remember watching this, and I clicked on it, and I'm like, oh my god, it's Stacy, and I remember
that's
watching it. I remember watching it because I was going to do that with mine. I have one,
yeah.
and I can't remember if the motor went bad on it or it might have been the transmission. I don't even remember,
Yeah.
but I still have it. Steve,
I mean, that thing. The one thing I liked about that truck, though, the suspension and the way that it drove was really good. I mean, it almost never on jumps and stuff. It was always like super smooth, always level. I mean, it was really good. It drove great, but that transmission was always a pain in the butt. I just got tired of it.
I was into RC cars like before I got into FPV, and then
Yeah, I tinkered with them a lot growing up, and I never was really like super into them, but I always tinkered with them. Always had something. When I was in college, I had a Team Low C Junior 2, and I had that at the time. It was all brushed then too. I had a what was the motor on that? It was a B&R Outlaw or something like that. I think is what it was. I don't know, 40 or 50,000 RPMs or something. The other. I mean, that thing was fast. Um, And I had a friend, he had the Team Associated RC10, the original one with the big, heavy aluminum.
I have
Uh,
one.
yeah, the big,
Yep.
heavy aluminum fan. Did yours have the big sag in the back where, like, it was like doing the Carolina squat that they do with their trucks now?
I'm trying to
yeah,
think. I still have it in my garage.
yeah. But his was like that. It would bottom out. The back would bottom out all the time. He
Tom
couldn't get spring stiff enough to keep the back end from not bottoming out.
Tommy said he has one, and
Oh yeah,
Steve-O has a TC3. I have a TC3 too. Steve-O
yeah.
still.
That's cool.
When I was growing up, man, I always wanted like a good RC car, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know about like hobby grade. So like
Yeah.
I would get one
Did you get the Sears models?
Sears and Radio Shack,
Yeah, that's what I had.
and they'd be real expensive, and I'd be like, oh, this is gonna be so cool, and it would be like
Yep.
2 mile an hour and like break the day one, and I'd be like, I would always get
Yep.
discouraged. Get a big monster truck you think's gonna be really cool, and it sucks.
Yep. Yeah, I did all that. I had a one thing that was interesting then was we would get those ones from Sears. What they call those things? It was like the Lobo or something. The other Lobo two, and Super Lobo. I forget something like that's what they had the names on those things. Anyways, they all ran on like double A's, right? And so we would get the rechargeable double A's, so we could charge them and run them again. And that was good, except that the rechargeables didn't have as much power as like the regular alkalines. They're like 1.2 volts, and the alkalines are like 1.5. And so it had a little bit less power. Well, a friend of mine, his dad was an electrician, and he took some old um, stereo equipment, like the amps or whatever, that had like um, the inverters, AC to DC inverters, and he made us these like superchargers for those things. And so we could charge the batteries when normally you have to plug those things in and charge them overnight on like a slow charge, and then you get 10 minutes runtime the next day, and then you were done, right? And if you're lucky, you might get 20 minutes. And so he built us these chargers, and we could charge them in like 15 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes, and they were like probably like overcharging. They were, like we were like doing HP charging when HP charging wasn't even a thing. But man, so the batteries would get hot when we were charging them. I mean, they'd get hot, and then we'd take them out after we had no way of knowing how charged they were. He's like leave them on there 15 minutes, and we had no volt checkers. And I say leave them on there 15 minutes, and so we'd leave them on there 15 minutes and plug them in. I mean, they'd be hot. Plug them in, and man, that car would light up like it had never, like we'd never seen. It would just flat out go. I don't know what the voltage was in those things, but we were definitely overcharging.
Good thing
They
you
were
did.
knockheads, so they definitely didn't last very long after that. But it was fun, because we could charge them and run them and charge them and run them and do it like all evening. It was fun.
Yeah, that sounds awesome, man.
Yeah.
That sound like a good idea now, but back
Oh
then that
God,
was
no, it was a
perfect.
terrible idea. Lucky we didn't burn the house down with those things.
It's
But
like good thing you didn't
yeah.
forget about them or something.
Oh man, yeah, and it was those chargers. They looked like a bomb, because you had wires going everywhere because it was just a handmade thing with an inverter from a stereo thing, a big old inverter there, and then you just had like a case with wires ran over to it and plugged all your batteries into it. You know,
Flexo said they're done when they start sizzling.
yeah, pretty much.
When you can hear them popping, they're fully charged.
Oh
That
yeah,
that sounds cool
definitely.
though. That sounds like that sounds
Oh,
really
it was fun.
fun.
It was fun, man. We had a lot of fun with those things. Um, but those they drove terrible, but it was fun. But yeah, that was kind of what got me into doing drones and RC and all that stuff, man. I've always liked RC stuff. It's always been something fun to do. I had at one point I bought these. What scale were those things? I think they were like 1/5 or 1/6 scale, and they were electric, and they were like NASCAR. Um, there was the 48 Jimmy Johnson, and then we had like another
Yeah,
20 um, for what's his name, Stewart, Tony Stewart.
yeah.
Anyway, they were huge, and they would probably do. My wife and I bought those for ourselves for Christmas one year, a little after we were married. I mean, they were huge. They probably do like, I don't know, like 30, 35 miles an hour. A 1/5 scale going 35 miles an hour is scary. Let me tell you. And they didn't drive well at all. They were like terrible. They had terrible suspension, and so like they didn't stick very well. They slid all over the place. But man, they were scary.
I know you're.
They had
I've
a
seen them
huge
before.
battery. I don't know it probably was like I think it was like a 10 volt, 10 or 12 volt battery. It was huge.
Yeah, I've seen them. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was fun, but they were they were terrible to drive.
Yeah,
Yes, it was.
that's how I got once. Like when I got older, and then I didn't mess with RC cars for a while, and then
Mm-hmm.
when I got older, like when Craigslist was around, I mean I guess it still is around, but like when Craigslist was a thing, like I would like I saw like a T Max is what I saw on there,
Mm-hmm.
and it was um, nitro, and
Oh man.
I got it for like nothing because like the motor was messed up, and I'm like, oh, I'll be able to fix it. So I'm like trying to get a nitro motor to work and had no clue what I was doing, and then I traded that and I got like uh, an electric buggy, and it was like had ran on like a 2S lipo, and it was
Hmm.
like so. It was so fun.
Oh yeah, I've had one nitro vehicle that I got. Um, what was that? That was probably 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. I can't remember. It was a Traxxas Nitro Fortec. So it's an
Yep,
on-road car.
yep. Those were fast, weren't they?
Good God, that thing was fast. It was like I had to. I bought um, a thing to stiffen up the suspension, like a sway bar. I had like the sway bars on the front. It was four-wheel drive, so I had sway bars on the front and rear that I added. Then that made it drivable. Until then, I mean, if you were easy on the throttle, you could drive it around. But if you didn't have good speed going and you punched it, man, it was just all over the place. It would just, you couldn't
That's
drive it.
so much
Um,
power.
yeah, it was way. The first time that I got it, I even glued. I had the tires. I like bought the CA, glued the tires on, had those all set. And the first time I ran that thing, I ripped the tires off of the wheels. I had to like buy new tires. It was ridiculous. Um, it was fun, but the only thing I didn't like about it, and why I never really got into the nitro stuff after getting that, was they were filthy. And I was driving on
Yeah,
road, and I mean, I'd get done, and it would just be gunk and grime all over it. And I've just been driving on pavement with like a little bit of loose dirt, I guess,
you know what?
on there that would
They
collect.
they sound really cool though, man.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was fun. I mean, you could drive for like a long time. You get down a little bit low and just get that gas, put a little more gas in there while it's still running, and keep going. You know, that
I,
was fun.
I had one, and I was running in this parking lot, and like I can't remember, like I think it was like a little pothole or something,
Hmm.
and and it just exploded because I was going so fast, and
Yeah,
I don't think I ever fixed it, man. I think I ended up just I broke. I mean, all kinds of stuff like the front suspension, like the body was broken. Like it just, I mean, it messed it up bad. And
yep,
if I remember right, I left it sitting forever. Then I think I sold it for like $50 or something.
yeah.
But it was fun.
The first actual hobby grade. I was just thinking about this. The first actual hobby grade car that I had was made by, and I don't see if anybody else remembers when they did this. Futaba. They made
Yep.
a buggy. It was actually a clone. I found out later it was a clone of a Tamiya buggy, but it was an FX10. Um, that was the first actual hobby grade. It had a manual speed controller. So instead of an electronic one, it had one with a like a thing. You hook the servo up to it, and
Yep.
it would slide a servo across this, you know, resistor basically, and to adjust the speed. That was that was old school, but it
I
worked. But it was terrible.
I have some vintage like Futaba radios, and
Yeah.
I have I have probably like 10 vintage like RC cars, all like
Oh wow.
even some like in the 70s.
Oh
I
wow.
think I have one from the 60s, like old school.
Yeah, I bet those have the those little resistor type speed controllers.
Some of them are just are pretty. I mean, they're not runnable. Some of them are like some of my older like 80s cars that are runnable. But I don't even really look at them. They're in my garage on a shelf, and every once in a while I'll go stare at them and be like, I should sell these. And then I'll look at it and I'm like, no, and I put it back. And then 6 months later I'll go look. But I have this one car. If I knew we were going to talk about RC cars, I would have brought it in. If I remember, man, it's from like I think it's from like 1974 or something crazy. Like
Oh wow.
the guy was stationed in Vietnam, and
Okay.
I have the original box that was shipped to him
Oh
in.
wow.
Like I bought it off some guy for $100, and I ended up looking the guy up
Mm.
from the like the shipping box, and messaged him on Facebook, and he didn't message me back for like 2 years, and then he like randomly messaged me back like, oh yeah, I got that, blah blah blah, that's super cool. I was stationed in New York at the time.
Uh,
And then he like told me like a little bit of the backstory, and it like made it even more
well, that's cool.
cool.
That's pretty neat.
It's like a green Corvette with like white pinstripes on it.
Oh, cool.
I can't remember, man. It might be, when was Vietnam? It ended what, like in,
Yeah, that was in the 70s.
yeah, early
Right?
'70s. It ended, didn't
Yeah.
it? I think
Yeah.
it,
Somewhere.
if I remember right, it's like a '72 or '73. Is how old it is.
That's cool. That's a collectible there.
Yeah,
That's pretty neat.
I don't get out and look at it much, but I get, well, maybe even cooler because it's got the original shipping box too. Like,
Yeah, that's probably worth something. I bet that's worth something. That's pretty neat.
I looked into it when I first got it, and man, I can't remember who made it. It's a crap. I don't know. I'll figure it out now again. Like, I found everything about it. Like, I started digging into it. Like, it's pretty rare.
Mhm. Oh yeah, that would be cool. That would definitely be cool. You need to bring that on the stream sometime.
All right, yeah, I'll get it out. I'll clean it up. It needs
That'd be
cleaned
cool.
up. It's probably dusty too. Um, but I have a bunch of Futaba radios. Like, I got like the big airplane ones that are like the box
Hmm.
ones. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
I have
Yeah, the
those.
one that I when I had that FX10, I drove it with the two channel stick radio. Um, and that was back when you had to choose if you wanted to be 75 megahertz or 72, and you had to put the little crystal
Yeah.
in the radio to change which particular channel on 75 or 72 you were running it. Um, yeah, I had I ran it on 72 at one point before I realized that at that time 72 was air only. You know, I was using the air channel for the ground vehicles, but there was nobody flying around me, so it's not like it was a big deal. But you know, we were
I
in
didn't
part
even
of West Virginia with all the mountains. There wasn't no flying going on.
I didn't even know it mattered.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Some of those guys probably would have had a cow knowing I was using the air channels on it, but you know, it is what it is. And then I had a friend of mine. He was big into the RC stuff, and he had some really nice stuff. And he got married and just gave all of it to me. And so I had like a really nice um, three channel, you know, steering controller, and had a real nice um, what was that car? It was a Tamiya. It was like the rally car, the 4-wheel drive rally car. I don't even know what it was, but man, that thing was wicked fast. It was a lot of fun. It was I drove that thing like crazy, and then um, I ended up finding out that I could buy. I decided I wanted to build my own on-road car for whatever reason. I don't know why, and I found I could buy fiberglass, sheets of fiberglass, and so I bought like sheets of fiberglass, and I was like cutting my own frames. My dad had like a bunch of you know, wood tools and stuff. And so I was using a scroll saw, and I was like cutting out these frames and making my own on-road car frames. Um, and I took what was the I had some parts from some on-road kit or something or the other, and I used those on it. I don't even know what it was now. It was like some sort of Buick. I don't remember now, but that was fun. Those were pretty neat. They were terrible, but you know they were fun. They drove awful because they had no suspension. You know,
Yeah.
like fixed suspension. I think it might have had a little spring or something on the back, and that was about it. But yeah, the steering had no suspension, or yeah, they were terrible. But if I knew the stuff I know now, going back, man, I could have made some really good stuff. I think, but you know, I had the initiative then, but didn't have any know-how. Now I have the know-how, but no initiative.
I feel you on that.
Oh,
So
that's good stuff.
you kind of have a similar story to how I got into FPV then too, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. Man, now I've got these drones though, man. They're way more fun than the cars. um, mainly because I can, pretty much fly them wherever. That was always my problem with the cars. I never really had any good place to drive them. Um,
All right, Steve-O, thanks for stopping by. I know,
good
man.
night.
Once you get into FPV, like that's what I did, man. My like RC cars just sit.
Yeah, well, it's well, the FPV aspect of it makes it a lot more fun, and then the fact that you're flying makes it even more fun, and then the fact that you can fly pretty much anywhere. You know, like I wanted to get into planes way back when I was in, doing the car stuff, and I was like in high school. I bought a glider kit. Why I bought a glider kit, I have no idea. I think because it was cheap, and it was a balls of kit, and I never did finish it. I got like the entire wing spar built, but I hadn't like put the monocoat on it yet. And I mean that took forever. That was painful to build that thing. It was huge. I think it was like a 6 or 7 foot wingspan, something like that. And they were remodeling our house. My dad's a minister, and so we were living in the parsonage, what they call the church owned the house or whatever. And so they decided we'd went on vacation, and I had put that thing like up in the attic so it would be out of the way and nobody'd bother it. Well, they decided to remodel the house and decided to redo the roof while we were gone on vacation, and somebody stepped on it and destroyed it. And I was like, I'm done. I ain't doing this. And I was like, I ain't got nowhere to fly this thing anyways. And so I don't know how many hours I had in building that thing. It was a lot, but yeah,
What was it? Was it
but
made out of wood?
yeah, it's all balsa. And so like
Yeah, all right.
when you
That's
got
yeah.
like a 6 or 7 foot wingspan, and you've got all those spars, going across that. I don't know how many.
I
How
know
many
you're.
there were? There were a lot
I know
because
you're
they're
talking.
like every inch or so. And so I guess there's probably a couple hundred of them. And then you had the long bars of wood, on the front and the back, and then you had the bars that go down the middle. And I had the whole wing done, just hadn't put the monocoat on it yet, and it got stepped on and broke. I was like, I'm done. I ain't doing this no more.
I
But
had a.
I think the kit was only like $20 or something. It was
Could
cheap.
you got to work for it?
Yeah, a lot of work, and that was just that. And then I don't know what my plan was because there's no motor on it. All it was a 2 channel um, glider, and so I don't know where I was going to fly the thing. I lived in southern West Virginia at the time, and you've got the mountains, but not like any of the mountains you could fly it off of because there's all the trees. So I don't know what I was thinking, what I was going to do with it, but
What's up? What's up, Wallbanger?
oh man, what's up? He's been vlogging lately. I saw a
I
couple of
know.
his
I
vlogs.
watched. I watched it.
Yeah,
That was a good vlog, Wallbanger. Keep it up. I love vlogs.
yeah, yeah. Needs to do more of those.
You push him like you did me, Stacy. You helped me out when I started.
Yeah, get in front of the camera. The
I
more you
know.
talk, the easier it gets.
I know. Now I get in front of it and I'll look, and I've been talking for 5 minutes. I'm like, well, I need to start over because nobody's going to sit there and watch me talk for 5 minutes. So when I'm vlogging now, I try to keep it like in about a minute and a half or
Right.
so, and then maybe get another minute and a half clip because I'll sit there and talk to the camera and I'll be like, crap, it's been 4.5
Oh man,
minutes.
I'm bad about that too. I ramble, but ramble and ramble. It's a lot like if you've ever watched any of Still's old videos, he was like that. He would ramble, like he would get to talk on the camera about some topic or whatever. He would just ramble and ramble and ramble and ramble.
I mean, I
Like,
do that in real life. So then put me on camera because I'm comfortable now with it. So it's just like now when I'm
yep.
talking, it's just like I'm talking to somebody else.
I used to be when I would first started doing that. I was always like, I'd see somebody and then I'd like hush up, But now I don't even think about anybody being around me. Doesn't even phase me. But
Yep,
at first, man, it was like anytime I had to be somewhere where nobody was around,
yep,
you
me
know.
too.
But now I don't mind. I don't care.
Do you ever watch Spider Sugar? He vlogs. He'll go into a gas station. He'll vlog in there. And so I was like, all right, man, I'm gonna go to the grocery store and I'm gonna shout out Spider Sugar because he'll go in the gas station. And I went into the.
That's funny.
I was in Kroger, and I waited till nobody was around and did it. And then I was like, man, that's not even fair. So I waited till the next time I went, and I was just vlogging, walking through, and people's looking at me, and but I was like, I didn't care. I was like, I was kind of laughing to myself about trying to keep a straight face.
Oh, it's funny. It's well, like we go to Disney all the time because it's like close by here,
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
man, there's like tons of people vlogging there all the time. You'll see them with their, and I mean they've got like the big camera setups, with the gimbal and like everything, these huge cameras with the mics and all that stuff. It's crazy to watch some of them, you know. But they just
Yep.
go wrong about their merry way. They don't pay attention to anybody and just keep on talking.
Like I usually don't bring my good. I have like a vlogging camera that I got for Christmas like 2 years ago or something. I bought it for myself
Just a
and
little bit.
I bought it for myself, but I told my wife it was from her. But like it's bigger. It's a Canon M50, and I feel weird having it out vlogging. But like my like a GoPro or something doesn't make me feel weird.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think a smaller camera makes it a lot easier. Hey, I need to pop off here for just a second. I'm just going to help my wife with the dogs and stuff, and I'll be back shortly.
All right, man.
All right.
I'll hide your camera, Stacy. All right. What's up, Trident? Let me catch up on the chat. Um, you got an off in the buggy, Flexo? I used to have an off in the buggy back in the day. No, Tommy, I didn't get a fly. I was going to, but I was lazy and didn't. And then I had some stuff for my kids' baseball, so I went to that. That's why we were running a couple minutes late. Did you get a fly, Tommy? You're welcome, Wallbanger. Yeah, vlog more for sure. I love vlogs. I don't know why. Everybody nowadays wants a 30-second flight video, and that's it. But I like the full experience. Is that good you're working a lot, Tommy, or bad? I know it could be good and bad. Um, what else did I miss? Yeah, it's good having money, but it sucks working. It sucks working a lot anyway. I guess I don't know how long Stacey's going to be gone. I could have played a video or two. Um, I don't know how many videos we have. Probably got a bunch over there to play. I might try to play a couple. You don't hear an echo, One Vision. You're late to the party on that echo. What have you been up to, One Vision? Does your shirt fit you good? I don't know if you posted any pictures of it or not. Oh, I know. Hold on 1 second. Whenever Stacy gets back, you guys remind me to look for something. That way you're not sitting there staring at me trying to find something. I should ask Stacy how long he's going to be gone. I might play a video. All right.
All right. Get this adjusted here. There we go.
Cool. I moved your face in front of in my way. All right. I felt lonely there for a second.
Yeah, I had to help the wife get everybody situated for the night. She went on the bed and had his dogs out and everything. So.
Whenever you need to go, man, just let me know.
Nah, I'm good now. I'm all good.
Yeah, we got most of your backstory. Then we got off talking about RC cars.
Yeah, what was we leaving off on there? And then let's see here.
The Sharpoo. The Sharpoo.
Oh man, yeah, that thing was fun, but man, it was a tight. I think I've got a whole build series. I'm not the. Let me see if the videos are still on my. I know I've still got them on the channel. I don't know if they're live or not. Let me see here. I gotta go look and see. I think they are. I have a whole build series from it.
Tommy, I've done the same thing, and people blasted me for it. I know Stacy has too.
What's that?
Flying a graveyard.
Oh yeah, I was blown in them. I've not had anybody complain about it, but I remember Steele did it, and he got chewed out like all the time. I think he took the videos down at some point.
I have like a real pretty like old one in my town,
Mm-hmm.
and usually if I go there and fly, I'll just cruise. But one time, like I was flying my 3-inch, and I did like a power loop over this tree,
Right.
and it was like perfect, like a perfect power loop. Like I barely cleared it all the way around, and so I posted it as a short, and like I was getting blasted. Like people
Really?
were, yeah, like
That's
I could, that's like the biggest I've ever been blasted. I'm like, and I was like, man, like nobody was there for one, and like the newest grave is like 1925 or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so there's not
Yeah.
people there visiting, and it's like you're disturbing the dead. I'm like, oh my gosh, shut up.
Yeah. People are funny. I don't get it.
That's the worst I got blasted for was that. Like I
Yeah,
had,
I don't think I ever had anybody complain about it, but
well, it was on
maybe
a
they did.
it was on a short, so people that's like not really an FPV probably
Oh
watched
yeah.
it too.
Yeah. Yep.
But
See if I can.
it's like a pretty cemetery. You know what I mean? Like it's they keep it up real nice because it's like old. It's not. I don't know. Like I would fly at it more if I didn't get blasted, just for cinematic reasons.
Oh yeah, yeah, they're fun. There's some cool ones down here. They've got that are that are really. I've flown a bunch of them down here. Trying to find that. I know I've got those on here. I have a bill. Let's see here. Uh, Gotta find it though. I've got a whole. I know I have a. What's that at? Can't find them on my channel. I've got so many videos though.
Yeah, you post. How many you post a week? At least a couple, isn't it?
Usually, I mean, I've been a bit since I posted. Uh, it's probably been more than a week since I posted here lately. I've got, I've got. I can't find it now. I've got like a so you want to build a quadcopter or something. The other playlist somewhere. I can't find it though. But I don't think I got rid of it. But yeah, I've got a whole build series with that Sharpoo thing that I made.
Did you get a lot of views back then?
No, terrible. Like way back, I mean, it was awful. I started getting a bunch of views on some stuff. I I, I met I don't know if any down here knows them or has seen any of their stuff. The RC Sailors, Nate and Abby. They they have like I think they've got I don't know 300 or 400,000 subscribers on their channel now. Um, but they I met them because they lived maybe just a little over an hour from where I was at when I was in West Virginia, and um, so I met them and hung out with them for a bit. And when anytime that I was on their channel or whatever, um, I always got a big bump in views and subscribers and stuff. But most of the time, the videos I made back then, I might get 10 or 20 views, something like that. It was terrible.
Do they still make videos now?
Oh yeah, I mean they make them all the time, but they don't like me anymore, so they got mad at me. I called them out back when the remote ID stuff, when the NPRM, was trying to get people. Um, I made a bunch of videos. They're all private now. I took them all down, but I made videos. I was calling people out that weren't like, because you could go on and you could see on the NPRM, you could see when people had like signed it, because you put your name and stuff on there unless you did it anonymous, which is about pointless if you're doing it anonymous. And so, I called all these people out, made these videos. I called out all the major Road to Riot guys because none of them signed that thing. To this day, I don't think most of them did. Um, I think Drew did, Tommy did, and but a lot of them didn't, and I called them all out. I made videos and called them all out because they weren't doing. I'm like, you guys aren't helping us at all, man. You got like these huge channels, you're gonna help us out. And so I did the same thing to the sailors, and I didn't do it in a mean way, because I'd asked Nate. I was like, are you gonna, sign this thing and promote this thing on your channel so we get some people? Because you got like at that point, I think he had on their channel. I think they had probably quarter million subscribers, 250,000 or something like that, 200,000 subscribers. I was like, you got a huge audience, and they're all into RC stuff, and a lot of them are into drones and planes. And um, I was like, you need to like bring this in. Yeah, 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 we're gonna make a video about it. I was like, okay. And so then, a week went by, and so I asked him again. I was like, you gonna make a video about it? He's like, yeah, 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 yeah. We got one in the works. I'm like, okay, all right, sure. And then like another week went by, and I was like, dude, you can make a video. You gonna make a video? Yeah, 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 yeah. And I'm like, booey. And so I made a video and called him out, and him and his wife both, they started blowing my phone up with text messages, that I need to take that video down. And I'm like, I'm not taking it down. They got mad. They started a comment war on the video, and there was all kinds of people, it was a big battle war or something. They got mad at me. They blocked me from their channel, and for a while I can see all their stuff now, and I think I'm still like shadow banned on it. Like I can comment, but nobody ever replies to any of the comments or anything, and so they got mad at me because I wouldn't take the video down.
I mean, that's a big audience, man. Like
Yeah,
they should say something.
they never did. They never did. And I mean, there was a bunch on. Um, there was a bunch in the FPV community that didn't either. I mean, they talked a big game like they were going to, whatever, but they never made a video. And then worse about that, I'm not worried about making videos, but they never actually signed it and put any comments on it because you had to put your name and everything on there unless you were doing it anonymous. And I called a bunch of them out, and then I had some say, "Oh, I did, but I did it anonymously." I was like, "Well, that's about useless. Why are you scared to put your name out there to like let people know that you actually said something? You know,
It's like how
prove to me you did." It's like, and none of them would like reply with like the link because you could link directly to your comments or whatever on there, and I'm like you all are a bunch of wusses. Call them out. I mean, I did. I called these people out. I was livid. I got a ton of views on those videos though, and I got a lot of flack too. But I didn't care. It made me so mad that this the FAA with that remote ID and all that crap and stuff. I'm like, this is ridiculous. We need to do something about this because it will ruin the hobby um, in a lot of ways. And they talked a big game, but then none of them did anything. And I'm like, you all.
what they had
So,
wasn't that like the most comments they've ever had though? Like on like it
oh,
on.
oh yeah, and it was still a drop in the bucket of what it should have been. I mean, there was. Um, I'm trying to remember how many, because you could go and you could look at all the comments and stuff, and so and you could search them. That was the thing. You could search the comments, and so I searched and I looked for people, you know, to see, and I found, so like Capper, he posted comments, so I found his stuff. Tommy did. I found his stuff. Still did. Um, like several of the larger name ones did, but there were a bunch that didn't. Like Zoe, for instance, she was harping on people, to do stuff. She never did, and if she did it anonymous. But I think she was one that said that she did it anonymous. I was like, well, that's about useless. How about you send me a link to your comment then to prove that you did? And she never would. She never replied. But yeah, there was a bunch that didn't, and I called them out. I'm like, you all need to do something. You got an audience. You need to draw attention to it, and make it known that you're against this stuff. Otherwise, you're just part of the problem. But yeah, I made some enemies when I did that.
I don't remember you doing that for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I've got the. Let me see. Let me find one of them. Let me find one of them. I know because I still got them on the channel. I was proud of, but I might have just unlisted them too. Let me see here. Search across my channel.
I gave the one I wrote to him. I used like father son time and stuff in mine. Like I like
Mm,
actually like you. I thought about it. I don't remember what I wrote, but I remember I used like my kids. I'm like something like you want to take that away from me or something. I don't remember
oh yeah,
exactly.
I can't remember what I wrote on that. Now I was mad about it, though. That stuff just irritated me to no end. Uh, let's see. I'm trying to remember. I may have to go find those. It's not going to find it that way. I'm going to have to search it on the back end. Let's see here. It doesn't have so many videos.
How many videos do you have?
Let's see. Does it tell you anywhere how many you got?
Yeah, it does because I have two less videos than I have subscribers. And I always try to keep my subscribers more than my videos. But I'm like, how am I going to get more subscribers if I don't make more videos?
make angry videos and you know talk bad about people that people like, you'll get a lot of views. You get a lot of hate too. I speak from experience.
Well,
uh,
I used to post a video like when I first started flying. I go fly, and then like all I had was a 3 inch and
mm,
analog DVR, and I would just post it with some like copyrighted free song, and it'd be like a minute 35 video, and I'd get
right.
like 2 views, and then I'd post another one like 2 days later, and like I didn't know what I was doing, you know what I mean? I was like, oh,
Yep.
I'll just post this video and get like 1,000 subs easy, and then I wouldn't even get 2 views. I'd be like, what's wrong with everybody?
Yep.
This video is really cool.
Yeah, I know that's the way I was too. And they were all. I go back and watch them now. They're cringy. Oh my god, they're so cringy. But where is it? It shows you how many uh, videos you have.
Mine says like right up when I like click on my channel.
So like on the main channel, on the main on just on YouTube and not like in studio.
Yeah, like
Let's see here. Let's see. I mean, this will only be the ones that are public though. I've got more that aren't. But like I said, I've privated and listed a bunch of them. There was a point when I got mad at YouTube and the whole monetization thing. Um, I think it was around the time that they changed the rules on. Yeah, I've got 1,300 videos.
dang.
Yeah,
I have I think I have I think
that's the ones that are public.
I have 480 and I have 482 subs.
Let's see here. I think there's a way you can filter. Yeah, filter. Okay, and visibility. Okay, this is where I can find it. I'm gonna do unlisted and private. Let's see here. So yeah, I got mad at their whole monetization thing. So like I unlisted a bunch of videos um, that had any type of copyrighted music or whatever, because I got mad at YouTube and the way they were doing stuff because I was like, well, you're not gonna make any money on my videos, so I'm just gonna take them all. I wasn't making any money, but I was like, you're not gonna make any money on my videos, and so I took all the ones that had copyrighted music and like I think I unlisted them. But I had a video then. I had an FPV video that had um, it had over 6,000 views. I mean, this is when I was getting like 20 or 30 or whatever, and this video took off. I don't know, and the only thing that I can figure out why was because of the song that it had in it. And at the time, my video had more views than the official music video of the song that I was using. It was funny. It
What's
was a what's that guy's name? He's well known rapper, but he's like a Christian guy. What's his name? Lecrae. So my video had more views than his video,
Do you think people are looking that up and that yours was popping up?
and mine popped up, and they watched mine. And I don't know what the analytics on that thing was. Let me see if I can find it. It was, and I named it the same as the name of the song. I think it was like "What You Mean" or something like that. Let's see. Uh, there's the DVR. That's not the one. I know it's still in here. Search across. Should have a link to the original video too. Oh no, I've got that. I saw it. Here we go. No. It was like in 2017. Well, there's the raw DVR. I want to find the original one, but let me have like over 6,000 views. But yeah, it was like it had more views than his. And like if you Googled like the name of the song at the time, like mine was at the top of the Google list.
Did you get any subs from that?
Probably, I don't know. I mean, I didn't really track all that stuff then. Um, no, I might have. I don't remember. And I was flying the video. I was flying at night at like at a Lowe's parking lot, and um, flying was it was okay. It was probably some of my better flying at the time, but it was terrible. But you know, it was interesting to watch. You know, because it was at night and you're going around through this parking lot or whatever, doing all these little tricks and stuff. And but yeah, it had more views than his at the time. I mean, and then I ended up taking it down. I don't know how many views it would have had if I'd left it alone because it kept getting a lot of views pretty regular. But his
Uh,
videos since got way more than mine now. But at the time, I had more than him.
you might have had like 1 million views on it by now.
I know that's crazy. I mean, that was like 6 years ago. You know, who knows? But yeah, that's funny. Can't even find that video now. Man, let's see. I got so much stuff. Oh yeah, here's some of the. Let me find one of those. Let me find one of those little videos where I like. I went on a tirade. Okay, this one's unlisted. I have no idea what I said on this video. I'm gonna post a link to it in the thing. You guys can watch my tirade. Let's see here. This should be funny. I think that's the right one. I hope it is. Sure it is.
I wonder
Yeah,
if
I'd go on these walks around town and talking to the camera and just ranting.
you should put them all in a playlist and just put them back out again.
I should. The only reason I haven't like remade them public, like if you make them public now, they like come to like the top of the thing. It's like they're being published again. Like it's a new video, but it's not. You know, like if
Uh,
I could publish them without and have retain the original date, but I can't now. It won't, like YouTube doesn't work that way for whatever reason. So like if they were public and then you unlist them, and if you make them public again, then they'll get like even if it was like 6 years ago, they'll get today's date.
I wonder if that's why some old videos pop up like that.
Maybe.
Because I, I commented on somebody's video. Um, I think it was Zorro,
Uh,
and I was like, it was a grill. Yeah, it was Zorro. It was a grill loop video,
okay.
and I commented on it, and I was like, because I used to love those back in the day,
Oh yeah.
and when he did the grill looping, it was awesome. And
Oh yeah.
I'm like,
It was
oh,
funny, man.
it's like something like, oh, I'm glad to see you back out there doing or something. And then like I look and like all the comments are like 4 years old or something. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, he used to. I remember one he had that was funny. He was he was sitting in his car, and he'd do that like most of the time. He'd sit in his car, took off. He flew inside the store, and the lady
Yep.
came out, and she was trying to find him, and he kept like he would fly a little bit and duck down and land it, you know, to get it back to his car and stuff, so she wouldn't see him.
I remember.
I think she finally found him, but I can't remember.
I watched. Yeah, I watched that one too. Those were the best. Those were
Yep.
some of the funniest videos. I tried to grill loop one time and chickened out. Like I flew for like 2 seconds.
I flew in our mall one time, I think, and nobody said anything. I like went like in a back corner or whatever, and it was fun, but
We
they
had a.
never said.
I did it at we have like outlet malls and like part of it's like outside.
Hmm.
And I flew there. I sat on a bench and flew, but I was outside and it was like I don't know. I was nervous. It wasn't that cool. Definitely
Yeah,
wasn't Zorro funny.
yeah. The drone I had, it was terrible. It flew terrible. It was back, with the brushed whoops. Those
That
things were awful. They flew awful.
that was the first thing I flew FPV was a brushed whoop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a blade or,
Uh,
or what is that what they were called? The blade? No, what Inductrix is what it was. Blade Inductrix.
yeah.
I got it. It came with the Spectrum. It's like a $10 Spectrum radio and like a Spectrum box goggles.
Yep. Yep. I remember those. I remember those. Yeah, those were, man. Those things. I don't know how I don't know how the hobby even got to where it is now. With how bad these things flew way back. There was um there was one guy that I wanted to do what he was doing. He was building his own out of wood, building these like tricopters.
Yeah,
Um, what's that guy's name? Um, Stimplecopter. I don't know if you ever saw any of his
I
stuff.
think I have. That sounds familiar.
He They had him actually on a Road to Ride episode at one point. They went to where he was at, and I don't remember which episode it was now. It's been a long time ago. But he would build them, and he flew them line of sight, like these tricopters, and I mean, doing crazy stuff with them. Um, he would. There was times he was flying it, and he was riding a golf cart and flying. Somebody was driving the golf cart, and he's sitting there flying this thing line of sight, yeah, off of the golf cart. Crazy stuff. But he flew with like I think he used like a KK2 board on those. But like with like the push buttons, like you had the push button stuff to change the config and stuff on it. You couldn't plug it into anything to change the config. It was all just buttons that was on this little box that everything plugged into. Terrible, but I mean it was pretty neat to watch. They flew pretty cool. It looked pretty neat.
I had
And they fold up. You could fold them up to take them with him or whatever. It's pretty neat.
back in like I don't know when it was exactly. It was probably like 2016 or something. I had like an Sheen like 6 inch, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have goggles, and the receiver went bad on it, and I bought one off eBay, and it was backwards. So like if you would go to like roll left, it would roll right, and I never could figure out how to like fix it. Like
Oh man,
I don't know if there was like clean flight back then. I don't know what it was, but it had
yeah.
the ppm like plugs, and so
Oh yeah,
um, I don't know what board was on that or anything. Like I got it used.
yep, yeah. I had some of those old receivers with like the pins and stuff on 'em. The old Free Sky receiver with the pins. I used those, and some of the stuff, some of the stuff I flew way back when, man. Those things were awful. Some of that stuff, it was terrible. I don't know how any of that stuff even worked, but it was fun. I don't know. I think it was more fun just because it was all new and you're learning. And sometimes now I look at stuff and I get frustrated with some of the simplest things, and you kind of lose some of the fun that used to be. Hacking stuff together and just going out and flying and having fun with it. And now it's like go out and fly and I got to make a video or whatever. And here late, that's why I haven't been posting anything. I've just been flying and not thinking about posting videos. It's been more enjoyable.
Well, for
I
me,
did post a short the other day, but that was about it.
like for me, man, like part of flying was making videos, and like to me they go hand in hand though. Like I like to make videos, but I don't know. Sometimes I go fly and don't, but usually I do, unless
Yeah,
it's like
I
horrible.
get burned out on it sometimes. Like I think it's a I think I got the same problem like Schizo had. Like you look at your stuff and you're like, this sucks. I ain't gonna share this. It's not worth sharing or whatever. You get in that mode of trying to like one up yourself, I guess, or something. You know, and not that I'm good by any stretch of the imagination, but you get in that mode where you want to like put out something that you're proud of or whatever, and then you look at it like, that's not that good. And then you'll post it, and then you get a bunch of people like, oh, that was great. And you're thinking, man, that was terrible.
I know. I made what I thought was like a really good video, and
And
nobody
nobody liked it.
and
Yeah.
nobody even cared. And then make something,
Yep.
and it was like I was like, yeah, I guess I'll post this, and people's like all happy about it and telling me how good, how cool this was, and I was like, I don't
Yep.
know if I think I have like a really good flight, I'll try harder on making a video.
Mm-hmm.
And if I just go out and don't do that good and still want to post it, I'll freaking just halfway try and I'll just post it anyway. But
Yeah. Sometimes those are the ones that people like. It's funny. You can't ever figure out what somebody's gonna like or not like. It's just, but yeah, I've gotten to where I don't get as burned out on it as I used to. I used to get really burned out on it, but I've got so many videos. I posted so many videos, and I go back and look at some of those old ones. Man, they're terrible. So let me find one here. You want to see some bad flying? Let me go find. I'll show you some awful flying from. Let's see here. I'll pull one from. What was? I wonder if I can find. Let's see here. Oh wait, I gotta do this. I'm searching on my channel.
what's up, Donnie? One vid or Fly Zone, what's up?
Let's see here. Who's this one? And I got a playlist to see what all's in this. This is gonna be bad stuff. This was how many years ago? I gotta find one that's got that. Oh, there's probably one of them. Let me see. I want to watch it here. Is that one? I think it is. I don't know if I even posted what it was. Yeah. Oh man, this is so awful to watch. It is awful to watch. Okay. All right. This is linked inside the playlist. So if you want to see more awful flying, you can watch it.
What's up, Goomba?
So there you go. That's an awful, ugly one. I was flying at a rest stop. We stopped at a rest stop, and I pull out that NASA with 10-inch props, and I'm trying to fly this thing acro at a rest stop with people everywhere. That was just dumb, but
Back.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
trying.
I don't know what I was thinking. That thing flew like a dump truck. I mean, it was terrible.
I'm
I think it
trying.
had I think it had like one of those run cam orange, the flat long camera. Remember that?
Yeah, they still sell those on freaking Amazon for like $100.
It's crazy. They're not worth it. I mean, the video's okay. The sound's terrible on them, but
I'm trying to I thought I'd be able to pull it up and put it on here, but I can't.
Oh, that's a shame.
I don't know why. I'm trying to window capture it and it won't do it.
It's terrible flying. It's awful.
Um, yeah, I can't. For some reason, it won't come up.
That's a shame. Y'all could laugh at me. It was bad. My first, my first FPV. I have to find that one. Like my very first time, I tried to fly acro in the goggles. I take off. I fly straight for I don't know 50 feet or something, and I crash.
I did the same thing.
That was like my first flight. It was awful.
I don't know why I can't freaking get this to come on. Like, why can't capture that screen? I'm gonna try to add another.
All right. What do you use for doing your streaming?
Um, Streamlabs. There's probably better ones, but I've gotten like the hang of it now. You know what I mean? And like I feel like I've worked through all the stuff to where I can figure it out. But I don't know. I probably can do better. But Austin used one for on one he was on, but then I checked and it's like $40 a month.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah,
pricey.
yeah. I was like, I don't know how cool that is. It seems cool, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I can't freaking capture it, Stacy. I don't know why.
That's nuts.
But yeah, it's not popping up. I can let me I want to try it this way. I'll try it another way. There it is. All right. Well, I just got rid of you on accident.
All right.
Huh?
That's all right.
um. Yeah, I didn't mean to get rid of you though.
That's okay.
Well, now you're gone. Um. I'll play your video then. I think I got you back. All right, you're
Okay.
back.
Okay. Cool.
Um. Now let me see if I can find the um your video.
Yeah, I think it's like the rest stop one. There. It's awful.
All
Can't
right.
believe I can't believe you're gonna put these people through
I thought you wanted everybody to watch it.
that. They can watch it make fun of me. It's awful. There's a bunch of awful videos in that playlist. I think it's got like 50 views or something. I can't believe it's got that many views, honestly. What's it got? Yes, 53 views.
Let me see here. I'll probably mess up when I do this. I gotta see what happens. It's probably too big now. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. I'll have to wait and see a second because the stream is like 30 seconds behind.
All right. Yep, there it is.
Is it too big?
Oh yeah, it's like
All right, yeah.
it's like zoomed in or something.
I know what to do. It makes sense, Goomba, to pay for it. It doesn't make sense to me. Um, I'm about to just leave it like that.
That'll work.
I wish if I knew. I can't tell if it makes it bigger or too big. Let me try something else. I would like another monitor, Goomba. That would definitely make it easier. I'm just leaving it like this. That way people don't have to sit there and wait. This is a run cam.
Yeah, hit the run cam. Uh, I think it was like the HD orange or something the other. Yeah, and that was the that was that um, with the NASA flight controller and that flame wheel 450, and I think I had 10-inch props on it, and I think I'm running the camera angle. I don't know, it's probably like 30 or 40 degrees, something like that, on that thing. It might have been lower. I can't remember. I think I had it kind of high, and I don't remember what my rates were then. They were way too high, though. I know that.
Were you proud of that flight though?
Oh, I was at the time. I look back at it now. I'm like, what was that? That was awful. I don't remember where I was standing at. Let's see. There was a crash, and you can see I broke. I think I broke an arm, or I knocked something off on there. I can't remember because you can see the arm on it with the. That's funny. Oh,
That wasn't
that
that
thing was
bad.
terrible.
My first, like one of my first videos was like that too. Like, and as I was flying, I'm like,
Mhm.
yes, this is going to go on YouTube. I was like so excited.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I mean, at the time, I was like, oh, that was awesome. And then, even watching it back, I was like, man, that was awesome. And then I go back and watch them now, and I'm like, oh, that was painful. What was I thinking? Why did I post that for? And then I'll look at it, and it's got 50 some views. I'm like, 50 some people actually watched that video. That's just sad.
I mean, they might have thought it was cool too, though.
Maybe, I don't know. That was 2017, I guess, 2016. I don't know, somewhere around there.
Goomba, I wanted to try to make scenes how you guys do it, but I always think about uh, dang stuff. Other videos were playing what that music was. Goomba, I want to make scenes, and I always think about doing it, but I never do it.
Let me see. They said I could find one that was actually pretty decent flying on that thing. I don't think any of them were very good, but let me see here.
No, Proximo, he was talking about the big old school orange one that's like a brick.
Yeah, it's like um, kind of long and thin. Yeah, it was about the shape of a brick. Let's see here. Oh yeah, I've got a whole series where I've tried to learn how to fly acro line of sight with that thing. That was what I started with it. Before I started flying at FPV in acro, I was trying to learn to fly line of sight in acro in my backyard. And the yard that we had then was like um, I don't know, it's like 40 feet square or something. And I'm trying to fly a 10-inch drone with an old NASA, not the Navy, the NASA. It's awful. Line of sight, acro. Oh,
Did you have some prop wash?
yeah, there was prop wash and about, probably about took the neighbor's house out a few times, about took my house out a few times. Nearly crashed into a car. Um, yeah, Yeah,
I
it's
had
bad.
I had one of those. Uh,
It's all documented too. You can go watch all of it. It's all in that playlist actually.
that's
Oh my
awesome.
god.
It'll be on my YouTube history. I'll check some of them out.
Oh, there's some terrible ones. There's some that might be okay. I don't know. Let me see.
Goomba, I'm just gonna start coming over to your house and we'll do streaming from there for my channel. Goomba's got a really nice setup.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but he lives like uh, 12 hours away or something.
Oh, well, that's no good.
But he
That's no good.
yeah, he's got a really nice setup though. Do you ever watch their stream? FPV After Dark. They're all a bunch of pros.
No, I don't think I have. I'll add to my to do though to watch.
I don't think they're not going to stream until next month, but they're a lot more professional than I am. That's for sure.
Well, there's a. I got a. That's a funny one. I have this one. I like broke a prop flying that thing, and it goes down. I've got a funny audio with it.
Do you like going back and watching your old videos?
I occasionally get in a nostalgia mood, and I'll go back and watch some of them, and then I sit and think about how bad they are.
I know I like to go back and look and think like see one where I'm like, all right, I remember thinking this was like the coolest video ever.
Yep.
And then sometimes it is good, and other times I'm like, even if my flying does suck, it could still be a good video. But
Let me see if I can find. Uh, oh, what's that one? There was one I remember I had that I liked way back. I haven't watched it in a long time. I gotta remember what it's called though. If I can find it on my channel. Let's see here. I was flying at the ball field that was close by the house there, and there was a guy that was cutting the grass. I can remember that. What did I call that video? That what was that?
Fly
Light.
Zone, Fly Zone said you should see when he first started.
Oh man, it was. Mine were awful. They were just terrible.
Flexo, you don't like to go back and see when he started 3D?
That's something I want to try sometime. Is the 3D stuff. I need to try that sometime. I think it'll be fun. I'm pretty sure I will be really bad at it, but I think it might be fun to try. I need to build drums specifically for it though.
Proximo, do you still speed your videos up?
Oh, does he really speed them up?
No, he said he did his first one. He
Oh
does it
yeah,
now. I've watched him fly in real life. He's freaking fast. It's crazy to watch him like practice racing.
yeah, yeah. Those guys amaze me. What's the name of that video? I remember it was a long time ago. Oh, I think this is it. Yeah, it's my favorite flight ever. All right, I gotta watch it. I haven't watched this in forever. It's got 365 views.
Post it if you want. I
Yeah.
think I figured out how to
Oh,
get it to come on here easily.
let's see here. It has a great thumbnail.
That's why you got the views.
Alright, I'm not gonna watch it here. Because I haven't watched it in forever. Let me see here, I'll post it in the chat. It's from like 4 years ago. Say the date that it was posted on. August 30th, 2018. So almost 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago.
Well, now it's not friggin' popping up.
This was that it was on that one. Oh, it's got linked to that playlist I was talking about, that build series I did.
Alright, I got a.
Oh, I found it.
Alright, I figured out how to do this better, so it won't take me
Alright.
forever this time. I haven't done this like the last. I don't know how many streams. I haven't played any videos. So you're getting the special treatment. Well, no, Austin. I just liked it for you too. Give you another like.
Yeah, I think what Plexo said there is what I figure I'd do on 3D is not remember to drop the throttle to 0, and I'd be like sending the thing slamming into the ground over and over again.
I don't know why it keeps disappearing because I clicked on that. So hold on.
That's weird.
I might have
That's
to go
weird.
back and start it over.
There it is. Nope, it disappeared again.
It came back. I'm ahead. I'm like 15 seconds ahead. I'm watching it now.
Alright. Yeah, there it is. I haven't watched this in forever. I was flying a lot higher rates than I do now. It's not that bad.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
It's a lot better than I remember. I can still see hints of what a lot of stuff that I do now still yet. It's
Yeah,
a little different.
your style's like still a lot of the same.
Yeah. It's slightly different, but it's got a lot of the same. Just a lot higher rates. I don't remember which drone I was flying on this. I think. I don't know, what drone was this? I see the props there. I don't remember. I don't think which one it was.
Yeah, this isn't a bad video at all.
Yeah, I mean, if we're flying in a big open field, it's not too shabby. I think that was the session that I was flying with them.
Fly Zone can't fly unless he dabs first. Flexo wants to know what your rates are.
My rates are now
Yeah, they're
really
like
low.
nothing, nothing, and nothing.
So like max on yaw is like 184 degrees a second. Like if you're full stick, roll is four four something, and pitch is four something.
What's your rates, Proximo? Yeah, that's not a bad video.
Yeah, it was not too shabby for almost 5 years ago.
You figured out how old it was?
Yeah, it was like August of 2018. It's almost 5 years ago.
Yeah, that was good. I need to shut it off so it doesn't keep making noise. I couldn't figure out where the song was coming from last time.
Yeah, the I'm not using actual rates. I'm just using beta flight rates. And let's see, I think I've got them in the description on the video, a recent video. Let me see.
What are your rates, Flexo? Do you have to do anything special for 3D? Flexo, you should start a series on how to 3D.
Yeah, that would be useful.
If you don't like to edit, Flexo, film the videos, send them to me, and I'll edit them for you.
All right. So there's my rates. Those are beta flight rates. So
Or Proximo said he would do it too.
I challenge anybody to fly those low rates right there. It's actually not that bad once you get used to them, but um, they're definitely really low when you're not used to them. I started out though when I first got into it, I was flying still rates. So I was flying like 1,200 degrees a second on yaw, pitch, and roll. You can imagine how that goes.
That's what you had to do to be cool back then, though.
I know, like everything was like if you didn't snap roll, or snap flip, and if there was any wobble whatsoever, then you sucked. You know, like you had to be able to snap roll, and it had to be flat and like no bobble whatsoever, like no prop wash, no bobbles, no none of that. There was no hyper smooth then, so um, if you didn't do that, you weren't cool. You couldn't tune. Like everybody's comments, and they're like, "Your tune sucks. You need to fix that prop wash." I mean, that's what the comments were all the time. You know, people were harsh.
That's crazy. 184 degrees yaw.
Yep.
My yaw's the lowest, and it's 556.
Yep. For the longest time, I flew. I'd gradually worked it down from like 1,200, and I flew like 1,000, and then I got down to like 800, and then I went back up for a little bit. It was like flying like in the 900s, and then um, I ended up getting them down to about around 600, 650, something like that. And I kept them that way for a long time. And when we moved to Florida, that's what I was flying. And then I remember watching one of Bubby's videos and stuff, and I was wondering what rates he was running. And so I sent him a message and asked him. And so he told me, I said, "Wow," I said, "those are low." I said, "I think I'm going to try them." And he goes, "Oh, this should be interesting." And so I put those in, and they were doing construction across from our apartment. That's where I was flying. like they were doing construction. There was like all this construction equipment. Man, I about wiped out how many times because they were so much lower than I was used to. It took a while to get adjusted to it. But then once I got adjusted to them, I really liked them. I found that they fixed a lot of issues I had with certain things that I was seeing in my flying, and I've kind of stuck with them. I've been flying them now. Um, Almost 3 years, I guess, 2.5 years maybe. Been flying that way, something like that.
I lowered mine are about 700, 700 and 556. I lowered them a little bit more, but then had to bring them back up because I had this bando. Well, I still have it in my town, but like I can't fly it because it's fenced off now. But like
Yeah,
to do a roll, like the ceiling was only like it was pretty low, and I was at about I think it was 600 on my roll, and I couldn't freaking get a roll around. I probably could now, but that was a few years ago, so I wasn't as good at flying.
yeah. And you can do a lot more than you think you can with low rates. It's funny. You don't realize there is a physical limit though. I mean, physics comes in at some point, and you don't have the real estate to do it. But a big part of it is um, one is getting like I have a bad habit of not dropping throttle all the way and keeping throttle in, and that stems from flying that stupid tank that you couldn't drop throttle all the way, and that still creeps in there. So I end up still keeping throttle a lot of times and stuff, and so that hurts you. You have to really be cognizant of your throttle, and then it's just a lot of it's timing. You get better at your timing, um, but you can do a lot of stuff really low. You find out more about how low you can do stuff if you fly like line of sight for a little bit. You'll see just how close to the ground you can be, and
Everything looks slower line of sight too than like when you're in FPV.
oh yeah,
like you'll see somebody like we were flying Sunday, and Austin's doing like crazy stuff, and I'm like watching it, and I'm like, looks like he's barely moving, but like if you watch it on camera, it looks like you're
mm-hmm.
flying.
Yep, yeah. It's a whole different experience watching it, third person versus in the goggles. Whole different experience.
It looks
150 all around. Yeah, that's low.
Proximo. You think racing looks faster line of sight? I don't know. When you practice, you do look like you're going pretty fast.
Oh yeah, it's probably because he is.
Flexo, go get your camera fixed tomorrow, and then you'll start. You can start your class on Monday for how to 3D.
I flew one time. I had a stretched X frame. I think it was basically the Chartreuse frame, but it was like stretched, and it was basically a racing setup. They had a pod on it, and um, I flew that thing. I cranked the camera tilt one time. I decided I was going to crank it all the way as high as it would go inside that pod. And I think it was about 60 or 65 degrees or something like that. And oh my God, that was insane. I don't know how those people fly those things with like super high tilt. But I was like, flying around that park, that video we were just watching there, that park there. I was flying around that thing with that thing at like a 60-degree tilt and just full out going around. And I ended up hitting one of the football goals there, like at full speed. And it was like, and then there was like this huge bang. It's like dragged out. And, video was gone. I went and I found the drone. It was like shattered in pieces. I mean, the arms are like broke and, stuff is hanging off of it. It was destroyed.
When I first started flying, I had my camera angle real low, and then like I started like raising it to go higher, so I go
Mm-hmm.
faster. But then I couldn't ever land.
Yep, that was my problem. with when I went higher. I was like, I just have to come in and just like cut the throttle and disarm, and it would just like crash and roll.
Yeah, I did the same
But I think
thing.
the camera, the field of view on the cameras, then I know I was running probably a much narrower field of view on the camera. I think most of the cameras then use like a 2.5 or a 2.6 lens or something the other, and so it's real narrow. Like the ones now, the cameras are so wide. I mean, you can have your camera angle way up and not really even notice it.
Yeah, I try to raise my camera angle a little bit. I've flown at like 25 forever, 30, then
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to push it up a little bit more here the past few months, but
I've tinkered
um,
with higher angle here recently, but I keep dropping it back down. I kind of like the higher angle sometimes. Because I mean it makes you go a whole lot faster. Um, it makes a lot of the like backward stuff, or like if you're doing loops and that kind of thing. Those are way easier with a higher angle.
I know you can see all the way around.
Yeah, you can see much better. You get much better power loops. You get much tighter power loops. You
Pow-
get tighter split S maneuvers. Everything's a lot.
Power loops are scary if you got low camera angle because you're going in blind,
Oh yeah, like
especially if it's over
probably
something.
yeah, like 80% of the loop is blind. You know, you just kind of have to guess it.
Fly zone, I'm down for sure, man. I'd love to join. The whole reason I started doing a stream is because I wanted to be in one and nobody would ever invite me to be in one. So I was like, well, I guess I'm going to do my own.
Yeah, I thought about the YouTube's got this whole podcast thing now where they like put stuff out and they're trying to push podcasting. I thought
Yeah.
about trying that one time, but I think I can't force myself to spend the time to do it on a regular basis.
Is it like the. I don't know if I know what you're talking about. I don't think I do.
Yeah, it's basically it's just another category of video. So you got like shorts, you got live, you get your normal videos, and you got what they're calling podcast, which is really a normal video. Um, you just mark it as a podcast. But a typical podcast is um,
Just audio, isn't it?
typically the audio, but on YouTube's platform, it's like this video. You'll see the guys talking in a mic. They'll have like these headphones on, and they'll have their mic right there in their face, and they'll have a video of them, and then there'll be another person doing the same thing. Um,
I hold my mic in my face.
yeah, I mean, like they have their mic like right, like on a little boom thing hanging
Yeah,
out there, and it'll be right in front of them.
I know what you're
You know,
talking about.
yeah. Or they might have a mic, off, like a headset mic or something, but they always have like the headset on that they're listening to it, I guess, and then the mic or whatever. I don't know. And then they just sit and talk, kind of like we're doing now, but
I I tried to do a podcast. I actually did one with um, my buddy Jose. Me and him did one, and I can't remember what platform it was on. And like we just sat here just like this for about a half hour and just talked about. It was mainly FPV, but and like it started getting like we got decent listens to it, but like it wasn't live. You know what I mean? It was just
right,
recorded. But I only did one
yeah,
like once.
yeah, yeah. They can be. I have a couple of podcasts I listen to pretty regular. Actual podcasts, not on YouTube.
All right,
Um,
Fly Zone, that's cool, man, for sure. Yeah, I'll look at that. Um, I'll look at the I can't think of what it's called now. You just said the what's it called? You're just talking about
the
it.
podcast.
Yeah, I want to check it out just to look at it.
Yeah, yeah, they've got an option on there now, and you can create your videos and mark them as podcast, and um, I think they're kind of promoting those right now. I don't know.
Just
So you
like
might get some more views.
just like how they did the shorts.
Yeah, something like that.
Wonder what's going on with that.
I don't know. The shorts are an interesting thing. I mean, I don't know. They're okay. I watch some of them sometimes. Like I like them sometimes for some of the FPV stuff, particularly when people will post like the multiple camera angles. So like you have the drone footage, you'll have the stick cam, and like you might have a video of the person who's actually flying,
Yeah,
camera on them or something. Um, those are kind of cool to watch.
like the one where you hit that pole.
Yeah. Oh,
Did
that
that?
got a lot of views.
I know. I was gonna say that's probably your most popular video, isn't it?
Yeah, it got like no. How many views? Let me see.
That
I gotta
was
go look and see now.
that was funny though. I mean, it wasn't.
Oh man, it was.
Man,
Yeah.
I've done that. Like I've done stick cam, but then like I don't know. I hate matching the videos up, like matching the timing up.
Oh, it's a headache. And then what's worse is like a lot of times, sometimes those cameras they'll get out of sync, and like they'll be synced up, but then like it might drop frames or something, and
Yeah.
then you miss it.
Like I'll do the.
Yeah, that one got. Well, no, actually, I got one that's got more. So I've got one. Luck is better than skill. That one got like 2,500 views, and then I got the one that crash one that's got like 1,900 views, and the one where I tried to Matty flip line of sight that's got like 2,300 views. And let's see. Oh wow, the one where I did the Danish stallion thing, kiss your drone shadow, like you fly,
Oh,
do a trick, and then like you see the shadow in the video there, and you like come down and smack the ground or whatever it is, wherever the shadow that's got like 5,200 views.
dang.
That's like the most, I guess, of all the shorts.
My biggest short is the one where I posted where I power looped in the cemetery. Like when I was getting blasted, I think it has 5,700 views or something like that.
Oh, nice.
And like that's when they first started too. And like they pushed it
Yeah.
pretty hard.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you can get some of those, I've probably gotten a few subscribers from the shorts.
I-
At least some.
I don't like how they are, like how it's all zoomed in looking and stuff too. Like
That's why I like those multiple angle ones, because then you can keep the video nice horizontal.
Yeah,
Because no matter what I've tried on like doing the videos like vertical, they usually look really crappy. They just look terrible. But
Flexo, are you going to use stick overlay for your class then? How do you do stick overlay? I like stick cam because you can sit there and talk.
yep.
Every time I fly, I'm like, I'm doing stick cam today, and then I forget about it, and then I'm like,
That's one of the things I like about my HD0 stuff. It's got a mic on the
oh
goggles,
yeah, that's cool.
and that's got a little mic hanging there. And so when I'm talking, that's what I'm recording. So whether I do the stick cam or not, I've got audio.
Do you have to remember to hit it, or is it always recording?
It always records, yeah. The only thing I have to remember is to actually plug my mic in. That's the only thing I have to remember. I did a video once, and it was really good stuff, and then I didn't have the mic plugged in. And I was like, really? So that video never got released
I need
because I
to,
forgot to plug the mic in.
I need to do a stick cam video just to do it.
I've got this 3D print that mounts to the
Oh yeah,
transmitter
I
and
saw.
holds, yeah, and it holds the camera, and it keeps the camera fixed because I'm bad. I move a lot when I'm flying, like I'm all over the place, and then that keeps the transmitter steady, and so no matter how much I move, it stays exactly the same. And then I've got a thing in Final Cut where I just drop this effect that I've already tweaked, drop it on the stick cam video, and it positions it and sizes it and crops it and everything just like I want it.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it makes it so much easier because that was always the big headache was getting that video to look right. And if you just
Yeah,
have like a camera, like a chest mount camera, unless you're real steady and you keep the transmitter in the same place, then it's, you know,
mine.
it's all over the place.
My radio. I've been using Nirvana for like
Mm-hmm.
the last probably 8 6 8 months. But the way that like I don't hold it like I use a lanyard,
Yeah, I do too.
and the way I hold it, like the way the lanyard sits on that Nirvana, like it comes over. So like the stick cam, like I actually have to hold the radio up to use stick cam if you're using a chest one. So
Right.
like I kind of need like a piece like that you use for mine.
Yeah, I found it on Thingiverse for the Tyrannus there, and it just mounts down right on there. And I got a little wing washer and a nut goes through, and then this just takes a couple seconds to pop it on. Works pretty well. I like it. And then with the session, because it's that perfect little square, it's already centered. Everything is centered. You don't nothing's off. Like I did stick cam at one point. I tried to use like the Hero 8 or the 9 or whatever, but those are offset, and so it's a pain in the butt to get it lined up to
Yeah,
look right. The angle looked kind of funky. Um, but the session works well for that. And then I put it in like I put it in 4K, and the session just does like wide in the 4K, so it's that narrower field of view, which works really well. It doesn't distort the view too much. It's pretty nice.
I had a session. I freaking traded it. I wish I wouldn't have traded it.
Yeah.
And then somebody was selling one for $50
Oh
close
man.
to me, and I've messaged them twice, and they won't message me back.
Oh.
I was like, I totally don't need this, but I'm buying it. And I hit them with like is this available? Like just the regular,
Right.
and they didn't answer. And I'm like, well, maybe they think it's just somebody spamming them.
Right.
So like then I ask a question, like it says you can see the 5 right on it, and but I was just like, hey, I'm still interested. Is this the 5? Just to show them that I was interested. They never messaged me back.
Hmm.
I was like $50 for a session. I could probably
Yeah.
sell it for 125 without even doing
Oh, easy.
anything.
Yeah. Like
But
I got both of mine for like $100 each, which was a steal. Um, yeah.
I
Yeah.
had
Those things are like unicorns, man. You can't find them.
I know and mine was sitting in my FPV junk drawer for like a year,
Oh.
and like I never used it, and then I traded it to my buddy, and then like I swear it probably wasn't a couple months later is like when they started like the price
Yeah.
increase. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah. I mean, it's hard to find. Like I use Mercari, and I've got a search thing on there just to keep up. Whenever there's new ones or whatever, to keep up, and the prices are just ridiculous now. But occasionally you'll find one for a good price, but usually by the time I see it, it's already sold. It's a good price.
Yeah, even the people sell the fours for like $75 still, or a
Oh yeah,
hundred.
yeah. Shoot, some of them's like 150 bucks, and it's a four. I'm like, that thing is not worth that. It's terrible. I mean, it's not terrible, but you know, it's definitely not worth over $100.
I had a video idea, but end up scrapping it because it's probably would cost a lot of money. But I wanted to like try to get like every like GoPro that they've used, like from 1 to 11,
Oh wow,
and like
like
try to
compare them
use,
all.
yeah, and then try to use like all the anything people use for FPV, like for main. And I'm like started looking into it, and I was like I know people that have like the 6, the 7, the 8, the 9, and I was like, all right,
Mm.
well I can get all the newer ones covered. And then I started looking for old ones, and I'm like, people want crazy amount of money for a
Oh yeah,
camera that shoots in 720 with no stabilization or nothing. I'm just
yep.
like some guy local had a 3 and a 4, and I'm like, cool. I'm like, this will be a good start. And the
Hmm.
dude's like, I want 120 for both. I'm like, man, come on. Like nobody's gonna use them. He probably hasn't. They haven't seen daylight probably in 6 years or something.
Yeah, batteries are probably shot.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
like, and then I got looking into him, and like the first GoPro was a camera. Did you know that? Like a film camera.
Oh really? No, I didn't know that.
And I'm like, yeah. Then I'm like going through. I'm like, all right, how can I put a servo to hit the button to take pictures? And like, I had this big bright idea, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna spend thousands of dollars on old GoPros that I'll never be able to do anything with after I buy them. So I scrapped it after about 2 weeks of researching. But yeah, the first GoPro like was kind of like a watch, and it had
Huh.
like, but it was like water. I don't know if it was waterproof or just like water resistant. But the dude
Mhm.
was a surfer, and he would go out and surf and like take pictures.
Yeah, yeah. I knew he was a surfer guy. That's how I got started. But I didn't realize they had like just pictures.
Yeah, it
That's
was. I
crazy.
think if I remember, it was 35 millimeter film.
Hmm. I've got
Yeah,
to do some research on that now. I gotta look that up and see what it looks like. It's got me intrigued.
yeah. Like I was rolling with this idea. I like had all these plans. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go make
Hmm.
some mount and have like the first and second and third one on together, and then I was like, why do I want to go spend all this money on something? Like it would be cool. Like if I had a
Oh
bunch of
yeah,
them,
that'd make a good video.
if I had a bunch of them already, like it would be cool. But like I have like a naked 6, I have a naked 8. Plus, I know my buddy has a 7, and I had a 9. Like so, like all the newer ones I had would have been easy to use,
Oh yeah,
but all the older ones would have been like I would have to buy.
yeah. The seven was probably my favorite camera that I had. I liked that one probably the best of all of them. The audio was really good. Video was really good. Um, Six was pretty good too. I guess that was probably like the next closest one, but I really like the seven.
I've used the 8 more than any, um, but I just broke mine, and I went ahead and upgraded to the 9.
Yeah, the nine that I have here, the problem that it has is it doesn't recognize the memory cards when you put them in. Like it just none of them. Like no memory card I've tried. It just quit recognizing them for whatever reason.
I
It
had one.
works, comes on the screen, everything works, but it won't recognize the memory card.
I had one like that, but then I could finally get it to read, um, but it wouldn't read the SanDisk cards. Like I have a bunch of
Hmm.
them,
Yeah,
and
that's what all mine were.
and then I used the Samsung one, and it worked.
Yeah, I've got a Samsung one too. But yeah, I can't get it to recognize them. I don't know what the deal is with it. But so I've got to send it back and have them. Like, 'cause I've got that GoPro warranty stuff on them. You know, I just haven't done it yet. I need to do it and the 8, send them both back and get them replaced. At least get working ones, you know. Even though I'm not going to put them on drones anymore, I would like to have them working again. I'd like to. The only reason I want to get them working, I'd like to take those two and one of the sessions, and then do kind of like Phantom does sometimes, where you have it like set up and you get like that third person view.
Yeah.
And just go to some spot where I'm just going to fly in this little tiny area, like maybe like out here at the park even, and just mess around with the just one of the shelters and have the cameras at different points around there, and then make a video, you know, a freestyle video flying around that, and have all the camera angles, you know, switching it around from the different angles and stuff through the video. I think it might be kind of cool, but a little bit of work, but it might be kind of cool.
I did something kind of like that a long time ago. I had this little toothpick, and it had onboard 720 DVR,
Oh yeah.
so like it wouldn't like break up. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like your goggle DVR. And I think it was a session. I put it. It was there's these 3 trees, and they made like a perfect dive gap. And I put my session down under there, and
Oh, at the bottom of it as you come through the top.
yeah, and
Looking up at it.
I hit that gap. I crashed. I bet I crashed 100 times. Like I kept, and I finally got it, and like it wasn't near as cool as what I thought it was going to be, but it was still cool to do. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't have tried that many times if I wasn't trying to get a cool video.
Yep. Yeah, I
Now,
like to see what it looked like, you know, to do to have all the different angles and stuff. I think it might be kind of neat. But the tricky part with the third person stuff with the other cameras is getting it to where it's large enough to actually see it. You know,
yeah.
they've got to be close enough with the right settings and stuff so you can see it. Because if you can't see it, if it's too tiny, it's not with the good. You know.
Well, that's what my toothpick. It looked way smaller. I mean, it was small.
Oh, yeah.
It was small anyway, but it looked smaller on camera, and
Oh yeah.
it was a session. So
Yep. Yeah, Super View makes them look way smaller. On top of that.
I mean, you might want a camera too. I mean, you never know. Like if you're going to go record something cinematic or something, you might want some good HD video too. Like if
Yeah,
someone
I've thought
come up.
about putting one back on every once in a while, but I just haven't yet. And if I can get a good mount, I wouldn't mind having one, but you know, I've just got to figure out how I can design a mount that's not going to break every time I crash. I think I just got like I don't know if I got like a bad batch print because I had Brain 3D printing them, which I mean usually come out pretty good, but I just had like a bad batch of stuff I guess maybe, and I just got frustrated and I was like, I'm done.
You're not the first person I heard that said they got stuff from there that
I've
didn't
had
last.
really good stuff, and then I've had stuff that it's printed too quickly. And you can tell it's printed too quickly. You can see, a lot of times it's really good, but then sometimes like the stuff is printed just way too quickly, and like he cranks it out too quick, I think, and then that the durability suffers whenever you do that.
Well, if you need a mount, man, let me know. I have a 3D printer. I print all my stuff.
Yeah, I might design one again. I've got some ideas on what I want to change on what I had before.
There's one mount I just have laying here for my Action 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I need to come up with something. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Fly Zone. I saw that thing that you're talking about. Isn't it like $4,000? Did you see what he's talking about, Stacy? That Apple Vision Pro.
It's like $3,500.
Yeah.
I saw that. My son was telling me about it, right? And we were laughing because I mean it's like, so it's got 4K video, but it's not. It's 4K in each eye. So basically 8K video.
Imagine flying in 8K.
But the thing, I mean, it's like, I don't know what the specs are, but all I know is the the battery life is going to be abysmal, or it's going to have a really big battery, which is going to be heavy, which means they're probably going to have an external to it, and it's got like an insane processor on it, so that it can do, you altered reality and VR at the same time. So the thing is going to be heavy. It's going to be hot. It's going to be sucking battery life like no man's business. And you I don't know anybody that's going to have anything that's even going to drive it to be able to utilize the video the way it is. So, and the price is ridiculous. Who's going to spend $3,500 on that thing? It looks stupid. I
It's
mean,
crazy. Somebody will buy it. A bunch of people will buy it.
well, I mean, Apple sells stuff ridiculous anyway sometimes, and like they have. I don't know if you've ever seen it. They have a monitor stand. It's still for sale on their website. You can still go look at it. It's like $1,000 for the stand just to hold a monitor. $1,000, and people have bought it. I don't. And it's just. I mean, it's just a stand. Something you can spend $20 on. They're selling it for $1,000, and it's got like all this hype on the description and stuff about how great it is, and
And
I
it's a
mean,
stand.
it's a monitor stand to hold your monitor. I mean, that's all it does.
One Vision. I use a glass bed myself. I like it. It's nice and smooth on the bottom. This print's been used a lot, but there's a bottom. It's nice and shiny. One Vision.
Yeah, I'd like to get a good 3D printer. I like to get into doing that.
Man, I bought.
I've got the space for it now. I didn't have the space for it for the longest time. I've got space for it now, but just a matter of yeah, it looks good. It looks real good.
I use I just bought an Ender 3, and then I put some upgrades on it over the years I've had it.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think you can get them now for like $125 or something. I think.
Wow, that's cheap.
Yeah, I think Amazon has like sales on them on like Black Friday and stuff.
So one vision said he's using the Ender 3 Pro.
Oh man, I'm getting tired. I gotta get up about 8 o'clock tomorrow. I guess that's not too early. It seems like it's.
That's not early.
It
My
seems like
dog's
it's
getting
late.
hip at like 5:30. They're
What's
they're
up,
early
Jimmy?
birds.
My dogs get up. I have an old dog. He usually gets up about 2 or 3, and he'll have to pee. But then after that, he's good for a while. He's like 13 now, so
Oh wow.
he sleeps a lot. So you get up at 5.
Uh, I like to get up about 6. My dogs like to get me up about 5:30, but I usually make them sleep a little bit longer. But um, sometimes they're pest enough that I'll get up, like 5:30 or something. That's about the earliest I'll do. Any earlier than that, I'll go back to bed. But if it's like 5:30, I'll get up. I'll stay up. I'll get me a cup of coffee and watch some YouTube videos or listen to a podcast or something. The good thing is, if I get up early, I can get some stuff done, and then I can go out and fly a little bit in the morning before I start my day, which is kind of nice. But you know, that's always a good thing.
Yeah, you
Oh,
that place you fly at's like right by your house, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, it's just a few hundred feet down the street. So like, um, there's like on our street, on my side of the street, there's like 4 houses, and then I think it's four, maybe it's five. I can't remember, 4 or 5. Anyways, then after that, there's just that big open field and the park and stuff right there. So it's real close.
Didn't you find somebody that like flew like right by you or something at one time?
There was a guy that lives. He lives on one street over, right by the park off him that flies.
All right.
I only got to fly with him that one time, but and I never did. I never did. I got his name. His name was Angel, but I never could find. I never could find any videos um, from him or a channel or anything. I forgot to ask him, when he was there. But I did ask a couple of guys that I know that fly in Miami if they knew him. And they're like, yeah, we've flown with him, but I never could. They didn't have a channel or anything either, so I don't know. And I haven't seen him since then. It was like one time, but so I don't know. But yeah, he lives down in Miami somewhere.
What's it like? Wonder what flying like in Miami. Wonder what Miami flying scenes like. I wonder if there's a bunch of people.
I know a few that fly down there. Like what's the guy's name? ASIC drone, and him and Wabba Wabba. I've flown with Wabba a few times. He comes up this way pretty regular. His wife likes Disney, and so they come up and hit the parks and stuff. And they'll come up for a few days. And usually, whenever he's up, he'll shoot me a message, and we've got together a few times to fly. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, I don't know if I've
But
even seen any videos from people flying there. I don't even
yeah,
know. I don't even know what's in Miami really.
let me find. Hang on. Let me find one from ASIC when they went out. Like they do a sunrise thing. Let me see here. Let me find one of them again.
Flexo 3D printing to me is not really addiction, but I like to be able to get all my FPV stuff in a blink of an eye, or at least 12 hours later.
Oh, here's one from Wawa that's pretty good. Let's see here. They've got like these huge high rises that they dive. Pop this one in here. I'll find one other one.
All right, let's see if the third time's a charm at getting this thing started good. It should be. Maybe not. It's still saying your flight's up there. Your video.
There's one from ASIC. It's pretty recent. They go down and they do these dives on these high rises, and gorgeous,
That's what I.
gorgeous footage.
That's like what I would think it would be, a bunch of buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, for some reason, I never can freaking get this lined up good. I don't know why. Like if I make it full screen, it always messes up. So I'm just leaving it like that. Dang, that's a tall building.
Yeah. Yeah, they dive those. They're pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Pretty neat to watch. And I think both of them. I think they both have their 107. They do a lot of professional stuff done that way too. I know ASIC used to do, or well, still does a lot of stuff with um, like horror film type stuff. like all the props and makeup and all that kind of stuff.
That's crazy to fly there. That's like a construction site
Yeah,
road, it looks like.
oh, it's insane.
I get nervous flying high up like that.
You know what I mean? Like it fall forever.
Is that the
So
ocean right beside him?
yeah,
I
it's
get the knees shaking for sure.
yeah, it would make me nervous.
I just subscribe to him.
Yeah, he don't post a whole lot. He hasn't posted. He posts on not a lot of. Dude's little dance there at the end.
I think that was his knees shaking because he was nervous.
Funny. Yeah, he posts up on Instagram a lot of times. Not too much flying stuff. Occasionally he does, but a lot of times he has. He's been doing these inspirational things, type stuff. He's pretty interesting. He's a pretty interesting guy.
It's time for tacos and beer, Flexo. You better get your camera fixed because your class starts
Yeah,
Monday morning.
I know. We got to learn how to fly 3D. I gotta have some new content. Me trying to fly 3D. That'd be good. I do
Which
have a video I need to make. Actually, I got that Meps King. They sent me some motors, but they they reached out and asked me if I wanted to review them. I'm like, sure. I was like, send them on, and then I didn't hear anything from them for a while, and then I got another message from them, and I'm like, yeah, send them on, and they're like, they sent me this thing, this contract. So I looked at the contract, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. And the guy was like, why not? I'm like, because I don't want your contract. And because they want to basically, it's basically got to be all positive,
Oh, that's
and
what Fly High was talking about. I saw his
yeah,
video.
yeah, they got to be all positive, and they get, they want to review it before you post it, and you got to have their logo and all the stuff. And I'm like, no, I don't like it. He goes, what don't you like about it? I'm like, well, one, I said, I want my review to be honest. I'm not going to just, if it's good, I'll say it's good, but if it's not good, I'm going to say it's not good. And I'm not putting your logos in my videos, and, you know, you're not going to review it, and that's going to be the end of it. I said, if you agree with it, then fine, I'll do it. I said, you can modify the contract and send it back. And I fully expect them to just ignore me. And he sent me an updated contract with all the changes I wanted in it. And I was like, okay, fine. And they sent me the motors. They came in the other day. And I was like, all right, I'll make the video then.
Did they send? Well, they send you 4 or 5?
I got 4.
I thought they
So
might
I'm going to,
send you an extra just in case.
no extra. So I'm going to, prior to putting them on, video a little bit and talk about what I think about, quality of construction and, all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to put them on and I'm going to take them up to the park here and I'm going to fly extra aggressively and we'll see how long they last. Basically, that's going to be the video. It's going to be like, I'm going to see how many crashes they can take before they break. Because Fly was like, he's like, they didn't even last a day at the bando. So I'll be curious
How
to
much are?
see.
Do you know how much they are a piece?
Yeah, they're kind of pricey. They're like mid-20s. Yeah, they're like
Oh yeah,
25, $6,
that
something like that. I mean, they're for, if it's a premium motor, then yeah, that's an okay price. But, um, initial impressions, because I took one of them out of the box and looked at it, and it's pretty, you know, the first thing that I noticed with it is the air gap between like the magnets there on the stator and the outside of the bell is like it's like uber tight. So any crash is going to probably, if that bell isn't strong, any crash is going to basically ruin it. It's not going to be able to take and be dinged at all if that bell can't take a hit, which is probably what happened to Fly High. That would be my guess because they kind of seized up, you know. So that's what I'm thinking is probably the real downside to them. I mean, they might be all right, but I don't think they don't strike me as a premium motor. Um,
Yeah,
the windings look they look okay, but it's like it's not the thick winding, it's the thin winding, which there's pros and cons to both of those. But and the base on it is thinner. So like I'm running right now the Velox V2 motors.
that's
I
what
just
I
kind of
run. I run those a lot too.
I just switched over to those. I'm trying them out to see what I think, and so far it's been pretty good. Although I did have one that seized up on me after a crash. I don't see any physical damage to it, but like it don't want to spin right. So I don't know.
But
And the the bell, I can't get the bell off because the stupid screw like stripped, and so it won't come out. And so I can't take it apart to even see if it's like a bearing or something in it. So I've got mixed feelings about them. I've got the 2306, yeah, the 2306 2400 versions is the ones that I'm calling mine because I run 4S. But the others that I've flown now so far, like I replaced that one, and I have crashed and crashed and crashed after that one crash that destroyed it, and I've crashed and crashed and crashed, hard crashes, and they still sound new, still silky smooth. I don't see any damage to them, so maybe it was just a fluke. I don't know. They've held up pretty well. Those others have.
I like them, man. For they're what like $17 or something too.
No, I got them. Well, I bought mine from Fly. I got them for like $13 a piece. So
Yeah, that's good.
I bought like 10 of them. So I replaced. I have two drums. I replaced all of them on there, and then I had a couple of spares. So I've got one spare left now, and then because I had to replace the one, and then um, I got the a set of four on each one of them now. And so far, I've crashed and crashed and crashed, and they've held up so far. They still sound new. You know, um,
I I run these other. I just about dropped my drone. I run these too. These are the ones that are for, or I think these are 12.99.
mhm.
But I like the other ones better. They hold up better. But dude, for $25 or whatever, that's a lot for a motor. I think, man.
It's got to be. I mean, that's the same as like the Rotor Riot hype train motors. Those are expensive too.
I don't know if
Or
I don't know if I've ever paid $25 for a motor.
I did I ever pay that for anything? I'm trying to remember if I bought any that was that much. No, I don't think I did. I can't remember. I don't think I bought any of the. I don't think I bought any of the really premium priced motors. Just because I couldn't justify spending that much money on a set of motors.
I know usually like I don't know like the those Emax motors like that people use that say like whatever that they're cheap, you'll break them anyway. But like those, like the freaking wires on them, like fall apart. Like I've used them before.
The Eco 2s.
Yeah, like the
That's the problem that I've had. Well, the problem that made me switch to the V-Locks or try the V-Locks here, I'm not 100% convinced I want to keep flying them. I don't even know they're making them now. At least not the one that I've got. But um, I kept dinging the bells, and then so I have to keep replacing the bells on them. I take one from another one, that I damaged like the base on where the wires had like broke inside
Yeah.
and then like they're like sticking out. They'll still work, but they kind of act weird when that happens. So
Well,
I would just save those, for the bells and replace the bells. But I kept dinging bells like way like for the longest time they would be fine and having problems. But then more recently, like every time I would like crash, I was like dinging a bell, and it was like you could hear it rubbing. I'm like, man, this is getting annoying. I'm getting tired of doing this. So
well
I wanted to try something different.
I had a bunch of them, and I was like, my son was using them on his because he runs 4S, and the
Hmm.
wires kept like breaking off, and they kept
Yep.
get like you said they would ding, and
Yep.
like I don't know, like I always heard good things about them, but like I was like, man, these seem like trash, and they're the same price as those
Yep.
as same price as the T motor motors. They're both what, or well, they might be $1 cheaper. I think one's 12.99 and one's 13.99 or something. But
Mhm.
the wire
Yeah,
breaking
I
off
had
was
I
what.
had good luck with them for a long time, and they were really good. But like I think the maybe the quality control was going down or something. I don't know. But like the ones I'd gotten more recently, um, they weren't lasting very long at all. Like the ones they lasted and lasted, and then more recent they were like breaking like a couple weeks into having them they'd be broke. And I mean I was flying them hard, but I mean I wasn't really hitting stuff any harder than I had before, and they were just breaking. I was like, this is getting annoying.
That's the worst.
Really tired of replacing motors.
That's the worst when you break stuff and you know it shouldn't have broke.
Yeah, it's like I know it's taking these kind of hits, and it's one of those things where you know it may seem like it's the same, but it's different or whatever. But still, I mean, it was just like it was happening more frequently, and I was like, this is getting old. This is getting me to the point I'm like getting frustrated with it. I want to take a break from the hobby, or it's like I'm getting tired of spending money on motors, even if they're cheap. You do it enough times, it's not cheap.
If you get
You know,
$12 motor and it lasts 2 weeks and you got to do it again, then
yeah,
you're
it adds up in a
the
hurry.
$12 motor sucks.
Yeah, and you've got to really, if you want to keep flying, you've got to buy not just one. You've got to, if you buy one, you're spending $20 because you got to pay tax and shipping, and you know, so you go ahead and buy a few so you don't have to do that every time, and then it adds up. Now you're spending $50, $60 because you're buying several of them,
If
and
I
then it's a lot more painful.
if I start with the motor to try, I'll usually buy try to buy at least five, if not
Right?
six, if not 5 or 6. If I have the money, I'll just buy 6.
Yeah.
That way, you know you're good for a while, or
Yeah.
hopefully you're good for a while.
Yep. Yeah. That's me. That's what I've been doing here lately. Is instead of buying just what I need, buy extra. That way, I've got spares if I need them. Hopefully, I don't need them. But
One
yeah.
Vision, you don't need race wire. You can make the wires longer.
I've done that a many times.
I know.
Done extended wires.
I do it all the time.
Yeah, you get real good at those. Putting them side by side there and joining them.
One of the first drones I built, I had used motors and they were all short. And I was like, I thought I needed like something special. Then I like figured it out, and
Yep.
uh, it still made me nervous. So I'm like, there's no way this is good. But then if you think about it, it's not really any different.
Yep. It's not any different than putting them on a little circuit board. Yeah. As long as you do your soldering right and you get a solid joint and not a cold joint, you're fine. It's probably stronger really. If you get it right, the side by side one's like real strong.
Yeah,
Um, if you do it right.
that's one thing I'm like the best thing. The thing I'm probably the best or the happiest about my progression is my soldering skills. Like
Yeah.
I hated back when I first started and he'd fix stuff and every time he crashed I'd always be like, I hope the motor wire didn't rip out or I hope my receiver's not ripped off or
Yep. Yeah. I've gotten way better on my soldering. I think back, so like the RC cars we were talking about earlier, I when I was doing those things then, I had a I didn't know anything about soldering then,
I didn't
and
either.
all of my soldering, all of those joints, they were all cold solder joints, every last one of them. I don't know how the I don't know how they even worked as long as they did, but they were all cold solder joints because they would like snap off, after a
Yeah.
while. And the reason was I was using terrible solder for one, and I had like a crappy Radio Shack, one of those just stick,
Yep.
with a fixed, no temperature control, none of that. It might be 40 watts or something. It was terrible.
I think mine was 35 watts.
Yeah, something like that. It was terrible, and yeah, it would work. You could use those still, but I didn't know what I was doing. And I'd have like a big amount of, I'd have these huge blobs of solder because I thought more solder makes it better, makes it stronger, you know. And I just had tons of it on, and the whole time it was a cold solder joint because it never really flowed. The solder wasn't really flowing down, through all the strands or anything, so it was never making a really good connection.
I had
But
some, I had this is a I don't know, probably 3 years ago. I got into the Kiss and I was using it,
mhm.
and I was building something. I think it was a reverb. I think it's what it was, and I was out of flux. And I was like, oh, I got some flux from whenever was into RC cars, and I put it on there. And I put the flux on and soldered up my ESC, and I you plugged it in with the smoke stopper, and it was all good.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, like the smoke stopper went crazy. Like it was plugged in for like I don't know 5 seconds, and it got crazy, and then like blew like the smoke stopper cut off. And I was like, what is going on? I was like, it's perfect. It looked good. So I had
Yeah.
another ESC and I freaking soldered it all up. And this is back when ESCs were like $40 or something, but they were
Right.
they were Kiss, so they were like 100. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And so I smoked $100 ESC brand new, and I did it again. Second, took $200 down the drain in like a matter of like a half an hour. And then
Oh man.
I looked at my flux and it said, "Do not use on electronics," because I bought it when I was into RC cars and didn't know. Like I went to Lowe's, you know what I mean, and just grabbed some like plumbing flux, and I was like, "Oh my god,
It was like it
I'm
was like pipe welding flux.
yeah, I'm like I'm an idiot." So that's how stupid I was when I was into RC cars. But then my
Yeah.
stupidity, I was just like, "Oh yeah, I got flux," and didn't read it till I just smoked $200 in 30 minutes.
Yeah, that reminds me. There was a guy when I was in West Virginia. He I haven't talked to him in forever. I don't even know what he's doing now, but he had got into the drone thing, and he kept messaging me like regularly, complaining about
There's mine, flex
his
though.
his soldering and stuff, and like the wires coming loose and stuff. And so finally, I asked him. I said, what solder are you using? And he said, I don't know, just some stuff I got at Lowe's. I'm like, oh, dude, please tell me you didn't buy pipe welding solder. He goes, I don't know what this stuff is. And it was like the big, thick, like the really thick stuff. And I said, what soldering iron are you using? And it was like one of those Radio Shack ones, that puts out like 30 or 35 watts or whatever it is. And I was like, there's your problem. I said, number one, you need some good solder. And then you need to go invest in a good soldering iron. And he goes, what's wrong with that? I was like, that's not for electronics. But like, I'm surprised it even worked at all, much less, lasted at any time at all. But yeah, funny stuff.
Yeah,
Some of the same
my
dumb mistakes I made.
my RC solder was just barely enough. Like you said, it would barely hang on.
Yep, just barely enough. The wire might be touching just a little bit, and it worked, and then you'd have a crash, and it'd be like, oh man, I gotta go solder it again. It broke off, and it should have never broke off.
My buddy was good at it. Like he was like good at soldering, and like sometimes I'd be over at his house and we'd be like have our cars out and like I'd want if something broke or something I'd like want him to fix it, but I didn't want to ask him. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be like, hey, solder that for me. So I'd kind of like
Yeah,
hint around like, oh man, your soldering is way better than mine, and
yeah.
sometimes he would fix it, and sometimes he would. He did it on purpose because he wanted me to get better at it. You know what I mean? But I never did.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's funny to look back at that stuff. The stuff that I know now, wish I'd known then. I could have had a much better experience with that stuff. Yeah, I was never afraid to try the stuff, but I didn't know what I was doing. And at that time, when I got into doing that stuff, I mean, there was no internet, so there was no finding any of this stuff, you know. And um, like if I wanted to order stuff, I ordered stuff. I got these catalogs. I don't know how I even got these catalogs in. I don't even remember where I found out about them. And anyways, I got like these Tower Hobbies catalogs,
Yep.
you know, with RC catalogs in. And, you know, I'm a young kid, like in high school and junior high, high school age. And so, like, I would call Tower Hobbies and I'd place an order, and it'd be like, I'd place the order like COD. And so I'd have to wait, you know, catch the UPS guy when he was there, and then, you know, cash on delivery type of thing. I don't think you can even do that now. But, yeah, that was crazy to look back on, you know, 'cause- and I had no information. The only information I had on anything was like I had to read in magazines, had to figure it out. Like those RC Car Action and RC Car Magazine and RC Modeler for like the planes and stuff. You know, I'd get all those magazines and read them, but it
Yeah.
didn't help with the soldering. They
Yeah.
didn't have any
The
didn't have any good
good.
articles on soldering.
My kids they'll like be playing video games and look up how to beat something. And I'm like, back in my day, we had to wait till next month to get the
To get the cheap magazine
to
that
get
told you how to do it.
yeah
Yeah, if you were lucky.
yeah
They'd have the walkthrough or whatever. Yeah, like I can remember when Zelda came out. I was like in seventh grade, and my buddy Oscar, he brought it to school, and I thought that was the coolest. And he brought the cartridge to school. I thought it was the coolest thing because it was like all gold, you know, and all special
yeah
looking, and you know, it was the cartridge felt heavy because it had like a big battery inside of it. That was how it saved the games because that was like when they started saving the games, like inside the game had a battery backup inside there. Because before then, you had those god awful 50 character codes you had to type in, and God hopes that you wrote down the code right. If you didn't,
mess
it
your whole
never
game
worked.
up.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Funny stuff.
What was that magazine that you would get though? Like it wasn't
There was
was it Nintendo magazine?
back. It was it Nintendo Power?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, then they'd always have like the game, like the new game out, and
Yeah. And then like a month or two later, they'd have like a walkthrough
yeah,
with like the maps and you know with all the tips and tricks on how to do it, and you know, and then like the really big games, they would have like a whole magazine just for that game with
yeah,
like the whole walkthrough, you know, with every secret and you know how to do it, and
yeah. Now you can look up 50,000 YouTube videos in 2 seconds.
yeah, you know, the game comes out and they've already beat it and they've got all the tricks and the walkthrough and you can see all of it too easy. Yeah, and games are easier too, you know. You know, in our games, you died, you didn't come back, you started the game over. You know, there was no save points. What are you talking about a save point? You start over from the beginning. You're dead, you start over at the beginning. Good luck. You know?
Yeah,
Oh.
here's your 3 lives. You gotta like make this last the next 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, here's 50 enemies coming at you at one time. This is level one. Wait till you get to level 10. You know. Oh yeah, their games are not easy. But that's funny. But we better get off here. It's getting late.
I
It's
know,
been fun.
man.
I have been enjoying this a lot.
Yeah, it's cool, dude. I was just
Yeah.
giving you a hard time about coming on too, but I appreciate it, man. It was nice talking to
Oh
you.
yeah. No, it's just fun. You know, I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I was giving you really a hard time by not doing it, but yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully your dogs let you sleep till 6.
Yeah, we'll see. They probably won't. One of them's lounging on the couch over here beside of me. She always waits on me to go to bed, then she'll go to bed after I do. But she'll
She's
sleep there on the couch usually, and then like about 4 in the morning, she'll come in there and lay down with me, and then she'll want to get up about 5:30. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know.
hopefully they'll
Yeah,
cut you some slack tomorrow.
yeah, they probably won't, but it'll be all right.
I appreciate everybody watching, and thanks
Yeah,
again, Stacy. That's cool, man. It's fun to have you
yeah,
on.
yeah. I enjoyed it.
All
I
right,
enjoyed it.
all
Hopefully, everybody enjoyed our trip down memory lane.
right. Talk about RC cars. That's cool. Yeah,
Enjoy everything.
remind me. I'll show you a picture of that one from like the 70s.
Yeah, I definitely want to see that. I'll hit you up in a few days
All
and
right,
have you send me a picture. I want to see it.
all right, cool, man. All right, see you guys. Thanks for stopping by.